na tinak dhin dhage 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 na tinak dhin.
Every day I wake, I make my mind up. I'ma be the one, be the truth, be the way. Yeah. Every day I wake, I make my mind up. Gotta keep my mind on the because they only telling their side of the story. Out here telling lies like they on Maury. Them poor rich kids get their money on phone it. But down here in the hood, yeah, we know Forex. We growing up, yeah. We got the goods. Good of them assets, good of my bag. Get rid of cash before the whole market crash. A news flash, just a flash from the past. We gonna smash it. Be prepared to hit the gas, yeah.
Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, put your game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We divide, blood eye, and we travel.
Try.
Blood eye, and we travel.
Woo. That's my child. Woo.
Blood eye, and we travel. Hey, hey, hit him with the higher. Yeah. Sherry no haka from Virginia. Yeah.
I know I'm more because I'm blessed. I know I'm more. I pass the test.
We got to see with the true eyes. We need some brand new bright ideas. We got the hearts and some great minds, yeah. If we could all just be sincere.
Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, put your game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We divide, blood eye, and we travel.
Try.
Blood eye, and we travel.
Woo. That's my child. Woo.
Blood eye, and we travel. Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, put your game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We divide, blood eye, and we travel. Hey, hey, hit him with the higher, yeah.
Peace to the party. It's your homeboy back again. Before we get started today, let me know if y'all can hear me in the chat. Gotta make sure everything good because we got a lot to get to today. We're gonna change the pace a little bit. All right, so excuse me, typically everything is as far as the lecture is concerned, is related around historical narratives, different findings that matter to our people, right? But today we gotta merge that with other topics as far as building right now today when it comes to your legacy, your generation, and showing up for your ancestors, right? So how we gonna manifest our own destiny? This is what we own today. So we got a special presentation for y'all later today with the approved guy pulling up to show you how to do this absolutely free, giving you a real deal masterclass and estate planning and things of that sort, because we are also about forward thinking, not just always regarding the past, all right? Because they go together like white on rice, you hear me? So check it out. We got a couple. Today the news is it's kind of crafted in that image, right? To walk you up to why estate planning matters so much, why your legacy matters so much. And we're gonna show you how throughout these different platforms and mediums that is being used to attack our people, whether that be physically, spiritually, financially, politically, and health-wise, right? So we're gonna hit a couple of them pillars. We're gonna break it down and show you how our legacy and our generation was systematically held back outside of just paper genocide. All right, it's much deeper than that. All right. So what even made me put me in this frame of mind to get us set up for this, I saw this clip right here. I'm gonna play it with y'all. Y'all tell me what y'all think after y'all hear it.
Conversation with a hedge fund. The owner of it is Jewish. We do business now, but one of the first conversations we had, he said the difference between your community and my community is your community wants to look like it. We just be it. He said all of us will live together till we're 30, 35 years old. We move out, we're up $500,000-$600,000 because we've lived together. And I see other communities do that, but I see us, I want to be self-made. I want to be this. Why?
Because when you have these conversations, people think you being negative or harsh. But I'm like, the reality of it is, when we talk about our community, our priorities is just effed up, bro. Like when it comes to economics and what we doing financially, we in last place. When it comes to having children out of wedlock, we have the most. We have the most abortions. We the first to get divorced and the last to get married. The most obese, the most illiterate children in the world. I was reading a study. They say about 50% of black kids can't read on a basic level. That's true. On a basic, that's true. A lot of things that comes to the negativities. When we lead them oftentimes. Yeah, that shit's sad. But we the first to celebrate too. Because our parents, no disrespect to our parents who want to see us because a lot of parents pay for the athletic training, but you're not paying for the tutor. We not doing nothing at home. We just send our kids to school, bro. The school's made by the Rothschilds, right? Yep. Don't happen. Every now and then I mentor at schools like with young kids and stuff, inner city kids. And recently, the last time I was there, I was with this 8-year-old boy. He couldn't read or write at all. I'm talking about 8. He was third. That's third grade. 8. And I'm talking about, I ain't talking about reading nothing difficult. I'm talking about cat in the hat basic type reading. And mind you, he know every NBA young boy, Rod Wave. Hell no. Song word for word. And that shit hurt you. And that shit hurt me, bro. So, but this the wildest part about it. So his mom comes to the school and I go to her, bro. Cause I'm that kind of person. As like, you should be, yeah. I'm like, bro, I ain't on no mean shit. I'm not trying to bash you, but I'm like, bro, your son can't read. He 8 years old. Like that should be unacceptable. Like, what do you expect from him out of life? How you gonna get a job? How you gonna buy a car? How you gonna buy a home? He can't even join the military if you can't read on the basic level. Right. I'm like, that should be unacceptable. You know what she told me, bro? She said, I'm being anti-black and too hard on him. I said, bro, she lacked accountability. Lack of accountability. I'm too hard on him. He can't read at 8. He can't read at 8, bro. I was like, I'm being too hard on him. I said, ain't nothing I can do. All I can do is pray. But you know what though? It seemed like in our community, like people want to coddle their kids and it's like, yo, and people be like, oh yeah, like you said, you being negative, you being hard. Nah, bro, I'm stating the facts and people don't want to hear the facts and people don't want accountability. I just feel like if I'm your friend or I'm your brother, I should be able to hold you accountable. If you don't like that shit, then we don't need to be cool. Cause I would expect you, if I wasn't doing something, I expect you to come and be like, yo, bro, I seen that or I heard about that.
Yo, so obviously, some of the facts that they mentioned as far as who started the school system, the 50% illiteracy rate. It's a lot of people who will get caught up in the details and trying to argue the exact percentages and things of that sort. I'm not here to confirm nor deny what they're saying as far as the statistics. However, what I know to have seen within my own community is several other Black communities that I've lived in, done business in, or know people in. I see a lot of the same situations happening, and it's not by coincidence. It's not because we were born that way. It was because this is the programming used to put us in a certain mindset. So to illustrate their point better than chasing down some stats and doing endless debates on whether it's 41%, 45, or 50, any one of those is way too high, right? So let's get down to how they actually playing this game. Like I said, they do this within politics, within your religion, education, health, finance. Those are just some of the biggest ones. And education, obviously. Oh, I mentioned education, my bad. So look, that's what got everything going. So next we're gonna roll into let's talk about the political side of things, right? So this is how they play on our emotions politically. Yeah, so if the party that you are choosing is not getting you results in these pillars that we about to break down, that's detrimental to your legacy planning and to your generation. All right, so let's take it over here to Jasmine Crockett. So I know y'all heard about the situation in Minnesota with the ICE agent, the white woman, the whole controversy, right? So I want to play this from a Black representative who says she speaks for us. You know, this is a mantle she chose to stand on. Let's see how she talking about it.
Was shot in her head and y'all are pretending like nothing happened. I remember when Charlie Kirk got killed. Do you? Do you remember what our response was? Our response wasn't to sit there and pretend like it was okay. We targeted people of color. And so it is unfortunate that even our colleagues could not see how harmful his rhetoric was, specifically to us. Is it okay because you have a badge? Because the last time I checked, allegedly no one is above the law. Can y'all not just have a little bit of courage and humanity? I am asking.
Give her an award. That was good. That was good. So it took for a lady who got pew pew, who got something she could have prevented, for y'all to cry. Are you serious? Where was the tears at for these women? What happened? Where was the tears at for these young girls who lost their lives? Nothing? No, y'all just ignored it the entire time. And this is where we are right now. And you know what's so crazy is that nobody is talking about the fact that that woman who lost her life would still be here had we not had open borders. Don't say that. Don't say that. Had we not discovered that we were being robbed of billions of dollars by not only like illegal people who weren't even American citizens, but government officials, we would not have to worry about ICE being in people's neighborhoods. We would not have to worry about people taking money to cause problems for these agents, being hurt or worse. As you can see, there was nothing. There was crickets. None of y'all said anything. And now you want to cry? As much as this lady talks about white people and racism, you're crying for a white woman now, huh? Because she's on your side. Because she's standing up for what you believe in. You didn't cry for none of these white, Latino, and black women who lost their lives because of an issue you created. Yeah, okay.
Hey, now check this out. So, I find this, and shout out to the sister who putting this video out. I like it's a tide, it's a change happening right now. I kind of like what I'm seeing. It's slower than what I personally would like, but hey, any progress is progress. So I'm gonna take it. So it's been a lot of content coming out, and people really is pointing out this political theater. So don't get it twisted. Whether it's Trump making a move or the blue side making a move, it's all still political theater. But we gonna pick and choose. We're going to analyze everything and not pick and choose what we want to break down, especially when it comes to things that actually matter the most. And no matter how you may want to feel, illegal immigration does affect us on this land who are already missing our just due, and the things that we are being taken advantage of, aka through our tax dollars, is going to other people but us. That should make anybody mad. But that's a whole nother story. In Minnesota, though, this would never made no sense to me. So y'all tell me if I'm wrong, what side you on. This is just a factual thing I'm about to say. So I have seen content that has been on the news framing and saying that Donald Trump is sending ICE to all these different cities to get illegal immigrants. I'm pretty sure that's not, I hope y'all wouldn't debate me on that, because that just literally is factual, right? So this is not a secret to anybody. So we also should know that there are people that oppose that ICE coming to the city, getting illegal immigrants. So this lady who lost her life, RIP to her, no disrespect, just calling it how I see it, was out a part of a group that was, their whole mission was to block the actions of ICE when they come into their neighborhoods to get illegal immigrants. So because of that, she was in a situation to where you can even have violence cast upon you by an ICE officer because you literally are trying to stop him from doing his job. Now, I'm not saying what his use of force was justified, but I'm also saying that what would you be doing out here as an American fighting for people that could care less about you, and they damn sure wouldn't help you in their country if you was in this same situation. So like, once again, in regard to the Black community, why would we need to be wasting? We got real issues to worry about within our own community that our politicians need to be helping us with, not trying to galvanize us with emotion. You feel me? To go after causes that don't even benefit us. Us as historians, we know the benefit. We know the benefit for other people when we fight these causes that are not ours. We got several examples, too many examples at this point to be sitting here acting like we don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I'm just saying. So you see, this is your political theater right now. Another one of those pillars that's used to denigrate our legacy. You know what I'm saying? And our generational wealth. It all started from the land. All right. So hold on. I think Mac said he want to tap in too. Let me get Mac right. Hold on. Like I say, later today, we're switching it up a little bit. All right. So we give you a lot of the backstory, the history, but we also got to talk about how you protect that legacy. So we got the approved guy pulling up to give y'all some real, a free masterclass and understanding of how you can put these things into action. All right. So hold on, let me get Mac up here. Let's talk about some of this. Mac, what up, bro?
Yo, peace.
What's good with you, bro? Yeah, you good, loud and clear.
Bet money. I'm good, man. I'm hanging in there. It's been a crazy week, you know what I'm saying? But as the politics goes and everything like that, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you got to push through, you know what I'm saying? But as you're talking right now, I mean, I heard everything you said, and like, you know, the politics part, you know, I always try not to, but since we on it though, just real quick, Jasmine Crockett, that clip you played with Jasmine Crockett, bro.
Yeah, with her crying.
Her crying is
crazy, bro. And then comparing it to Charlie Kirk is asinine, bro. Like, what is like, you don't gotta agree with Charlie Kirk, but this man was minding his own business, running his, you know, whether you agree with his views, some things, once again, we're not debating the facts of the matter of he went to buku colleges debating and talking, right? And somebody shot him, you know, for those views. This lady, if you go anywhere in America or pretty much any country and you interfering with police business, there's a good chance something bad can happen to you.
Right. Exactly. I mean,
that's just common sense.
We got plenty of proof of that within our own organizations over in the 60s. You know what I'm saying? Civil rights era. So
why would you be playing with them people?
I mean, if you think it's a game, you're gonna find out. You know what I'm saying? That's what they say, F around to find out. You know what I'm saying? And hey, unfortunately, you know, I don't wish nothing on nobody like that. You know what I'm saying? But hey, man, he was brave enough to put his thoughts out there, formalize it, organize it. Like you said, it got nothing to do with agreeing to disagree with the talking points of Turning Point. But it's still, at the end of the day, somebody killed him and took his life. And there's conspiracies behind that too.
Right.
Inside all that kind of talk around it. But how could she, you know what I mean?
Because hers could be a conspiracy as well. We don't we not rushing to judgment, but we just apples to apples comparing the situation. You feel me?
All the conspiracies of the Democratic Party that no one seems to want to talk about, though.
Right.
So if we're gonna be real, you know, it's like you can't. It's like, you know, you pointing the finger. You know, you throwing rocks and you hiding in a glass house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can't be throwing rocks and hiding in a glass house. And that's the problem with, you know, when her position. Unfortunately, you know, in certain cases, even if people genuinely like her, it's just, you know, she can't be making that comparison though. So, you know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I mean?
And it's a good point right here to what you just said, making that comparison. She was saying, how did y'all act when this happened to Charlie? And I remember within our community, shit, people was acting like they were happy.
Right.
They ain't had no sympathy for the man. They were talking real egregious, like they just standing on business and they don't love no white people. They want all, man, come on, man. Y'all gotta stop falling for the people trying to give you that game. They not living like that.
Nah, I don't know why people trying to play all tough in politics when we see what's going on right now with our politics within our own communities. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? It just has to be, you know what I mean, laid out in that kind of form. I don't know how people can't see this comparison being crazy, actually. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's a politician, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is he a politician?
Who, Charlie?
Yeah, no.
Nah, he wasn't. No, he was a businessman.
So,
they say eventually he would have been, but at that moment he was not.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in her, if we all go back to her background, could we compare her walk to becoming a politician or doing anything that we've seen him do before?
No.
All right, I was making sure. I mean, just something to point at. You know what I mean? Just an observation. You know what I'm saying? But okay.
So
either way.
yeah, so check this out. So basically, when you came on, I was kind of breaking down. So, in my mind, in my thought process to get us ready for the approved guy to come on for Sebastian. So I was thinking how to break this down to make people really, understand what has been used to attack our legacy. You feel me? So that started off right there. That was politics. And that's just giving an example of how they play on us with the politics. So this one right here is another topic I see a lot of our people talking about. And it's old buddy, what's the pastor name? I want to say Jamal Bryant. You know what I'm talking about? He had the wife that just went viral for the
It popped
dress.
out for that dress. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the dress?
Yeah, I seen the dress.
Right. So let me ask you something. So your people, I know with your grandparents and things, some of them was really involved with the church.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I've had plenty of, both sides of my family, obviously.
So let me ask you this. Because I know I'm gonna tell you about mine. So mine was the same way, really heavy in their church. And I'm not saying by no means that they was perfect. But when it came down to that church, man, they ain't play. And there was a certain amount of respect that you were gonna put on that, or they was gonna get on your ass about that. Like it wasn't no negotiating with the way in which they wanted it represented. You feel me? They would hold you accountable when you wasn't like, bro, it was so old school in Louisiana. It was a point in time that women could only wear certain things, bro. Or they would literally get admonished in front of the whole church. You hear me?
Right.
Different type of time. This is in my living. So I can only imagine what it was before then. You feel me? So the way that Buddy tried to explain it was kind of crazy based on his profession, not based on the world. You know what I'm saying? So I find it so that whole time. So obviously other pastors was gonna speak on it, right? So this one cat, they don't really like him because he didn't say his stuff to side with Trump, right? So I'm gonna play what he said, and I want your thoughts, bro. Hold
on. A preacher presented his wife the other day, and I guess you call that a flesh-colored dress. I don't know. It's black dress and flesh color. It gives the illusion that she's not wearing anything underneath. And I heard the preacher, when he defended her dress, by saying, first of all, he bought the dress. And then he said, I want to address people who don't know anything, who haven't been anywhere, who don't know nothing. So I guess our objection to a man of the cloth presenting his wife in public looking like a $2 whore. Two. At least two. Now, I didn't say she was. I'm not talking about her. My statement is not about her. My statement is about him. I said he presented his wife, and he said he bought the dress. Those are his words, not mine. And there is nothing classy about that. There's nothing modest about that. He said we haven't been anywhere. What I would like to know is where have you been? Where did he go? So I'll make sure that I never go there, because I don't want to go anywhere and I come back with that kind of a notion. Now, I will say this, and this is a comment about my wife, not his wife. This is a comment about my wife. My wife wouldn't have done it, no matter what I said. She just would have said, honey, I'll wear this for you. I'll wear this for you at home when we know the grandkids aren't coming. Because there is such a thing as decency. Decency. Y'all don't like me.
They don't like me.
But in public, at an event where everyone will see, I don't know of a greater way for a man to demean his wife. And if he doesn't think that that is demeaning her, there is something wrong with him. But then again, we're also talking about the guy who looked at Cam Newton's legs and told Cam he had pretty legs. Yeah, see, so.
Hey, so let me tell you something. Obviously, I'm not a Christian. My family, that's how they was coming. That's how we was brought up. But I got respect for all faiths. That ain't, that's not worth me debating. You hear me? But one thing I do know, based on history, was our people was heavily into it, and it was not just about the Bible. It was about the way they governed themselves, the way they ran their community, the certain moral compass. You feel me? That they live by, and they really stood on that. That's why when we look at their pictures, even when you see them when they was poor, they was dressed fully. You feel me? Put on their best, because it was just a certain way that you kept yourself up. So what you think about that, man?
The decency and the morale part, the teachings of the person they call Christ is different from Christianity. You know what I'm saying? For one. But then within the people that were going to church, they kept the morale value to what they did and what the structure of how you show up. You know what I mean? I know there's terms like, come as you are, you know what I mean? And that terminology is, if you ain't got it, you know what I'm saying, to dress up in that theme way, you still can come get the lessons or whatever the case and be part of the congregation. You know what I mean? But you still don't show up like you just came from like the club last night. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And because you can put on regular clothes, you know what I mean? And come.
Especially if you're a leader. Like, it's different when you just a random church goer and you just literally you literally left from the club and went to church. It ain't supposed to be no judgment cast on you, right?
It shouldn't.
Whole different situation.
It should. Well, in that kind of case, no, it shouldn't be, because the person decided in the spirit to wake up or leave and go straight. Or I don't know how that even worked, where you leaving the club and going.
See, in Louisiana, the club don't close by 6, 7 in the morning, boy.
I get it down here too, but I'm saying, hey, if whatever led you to leave there and go there, and that's how you were dressed, that's different from you being the pastor's wife or one of the first ladies or something like that, which obviously you're planning to be there and you're not leaving them hopefully you ain't in them positions leaving the club. And if you is, that's your business too, but at least go home and change so you can keep people out what your secular business is from your spiritual or, the positions you hold. You know what I mean? So that's what I think that is, you know what I mean? That's what I think that's all about, because at this point, I agree with him on that level. Like, in his position, he shouldn't be buying his wife something like that to go to an event like that. That's just, you know what I mean?
And that's why he addressed him like a man. He was addressing the man. He made it clear who he was addressing. You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he made it even worse when he said, because the Jamal Bryant, he came out, of course, that man said something about his wife. He got to hit back or he looked weak, right? But whole time you already weak for what you did in the first place. That's what he was saying to you. He just didn't like that he called him out.
Right.
So it was pretty interesting. But the whole purpose of me playing that is, it was a time where the church was different, whether you agree with it or not. The way that our community moved within it was a real thing. All right. So they had to change that to now the church is real liberal, ain't it? They literally, you go to these churches, they telling you who to vote for type shit on both sides. But on our side is all Democrat. That's the whole problem. We not getting a duality. We can only be Democrat or you instantly on the other side, and they reinforce this through the church. And that's not what it was back in the day. It was a congregation of opposing views, and they agreed on one move. Go ahead.
Why? I think it's just the time frame we in, and people just too loose. And he has a large congregation, the dude.
Jamal Bryant, yeah.
Like 10,000 people or something like that.
Something crazy.
So obviously, he doing something right. Them people like to go to his joint every Sunday like that, and they supporting and donating, tithes, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So, however the case might be, his congregation obviously, I didn't really follow it in detail to go see what the community, which would be the congregation, what they directly are saying about it. You know what I mean? But and this man right here, that you got on the screen, he seemed to like to call out stuff though. He like,
I done seen him multiple times. Wooden is it, bro? He be calling out a lot of things, and not just in regard to the church. He be talking about history. He be talking about politics. This is why so he on the opposing side of Jamal Bryant, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But still represent black people. Yeah, he's conservative.
And he said some things about that. And I think that's what he's kind of pointing to with his congregation, to be more conservative. And I mean, you could actually, funny enough, I don't know, would you say he's a Republican?
I mean, so once again, when our people was Republicans, they was conservative coming from the church. So I mean, you do the math.
That part. I mean, some people might not like that part, but you know what I'm saying? That's just a,
So watch this. We're gonna double down on it. So we didn't cover politics and faith, two different pillars that they've been attacking to get rid of our legacy. All right. So here go another one with education. This was an obvious one, but we're gonna approach it from a slightly different angle. So watch this.
And they don't teach you this in school, but between 1912 and 1932, nearly 5,000 schools were built across the Jim Crow South, not by the state, not by generosity, but by Black communities raising the money, donating the land, and demanding dignity for their children. They were called the Rosenwald Schools, and without them, the Civil Rights Movement wouldn't have had a generation of leaders. This all started with a partnership. Julius Rosenwald, the president of Sears, read Booker T. Washington's Up from Slavery. Washington invited him to Tuskegee, and together they built a plan. Match Rosenwald's money with local Black contributions, land, cash, labor, and force white schools to chip in too. It wasn't charity, it was a blueprint. Black families were locked out of decent schools, so they built their own, with Rosenwald's seed money making it possible. From 1912 to 1932, the Rosenwald Fund helped build 4,977 schools, plus teacher homes and shop buildings, all across 15 southern states. These weren't palaces by any means. Most were 1 to 2 room wooden schools, designed by Tuskegee architects to maximize light and ventilation. No frills, just chalkboards, desks, and teachers who cared. By 1928, 1 in 3 Black children in the Jim Crow South attended a Rosenwald school. 1 in 3. Think about that, right? Entire generations, lawyers, farmers, ministers, organizers, got their start in these rooms. They weren't just schools, they were community hubs, PTA meetings, literacy classes, voter education workshops. The state refused to invest. So Black parents sold land, held fundraisers, passed the hat at church. They invested in their children when the country refused to do so. And the kids who learned in those schools, they became the very people who dismantled Jim Crow. Medgar Evers, Maya Angelou, John Lewis, leaders who carried the movement on their backs. So here's the part that cuts deep. When desegregation came, many Rosenwald schools were abandoned, consolidated, or bulldozed. Today, only a fraction survive. Some are churches and some just sit crumbling in fields. But the legacy is undeniable. Those schools prove what Black self-determination could actually do, even in the teeth of segregation. They're why the Civil Rights Movement had the teachers, the organizers, and the intellectuals that it needed. The Rosenwald schools weren't a footnote. They were a revolution in wood and nails, built by people who refused to let racism dictate their children's future. So the next time somebody says that Black people don't care about education, tell them about Rosenwald. Tell them that nearly 5,000 schools stood because we built them ourselves. And tell them that those classrooms lit the fuse that changed America.
I like her. That was cool.
Yeah, I like the breakdown, and the main reason why I wanted to highlight it is not to say whether I agree with the Rosenwald connection, but to point out the fact that in order for him to pull it off, one, because he just financed the whole thing because he didn't have the land and he needed other capital to get it going. He just was willing to go in on it, right? But it took for the communities to be able to put that together, and they did successfully. Down there, 5,000 of them. When it's supposed to be all this racism going on, they able to create more schools than what we got right now today. How about that, Matt? Well, I mean, Black people.
There's a misconception about how, integration, how we hear it all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, I think it's also a misbelief that, we weren't able to do these things prior to, certain things taking place, like integration. So what she said and the people she mentioned, and when we go back to the history, it goes back prior to even 1865, and how churches had all those same kind of things going on within their community because out of state, wouldn't recognize, and obviously they had to do their own autonomous thing. You heard me? So salute to the ancestors, and people in our own American history that found a way, even though it might not be the mainstream thing that get pushed, you know what I'm saying? But definitely we found a way, because if not, we wouldn't be here now, educated the way we are. You hear me? That's real.
They left a trail for us to be able to follow to get back to the truth. You feel me?
Yeah.
And we don't do enough with that. We coming up with steady all these excuses and things. Now, obviously, it wouldn't be as easy today to create 5,000 schools. Like, we ain't being ridiculous with this, but we used faith earlier, right? We talk about Jamal Bryant, even Pastor Wooden. I think his name is Bishop Wooden. But regardless, what are black church schools at? Because we need them. Because there's a whole bunch of churches. So all y'all couldn't have come together and make some schools yet? Because all these other schools is white on from what I've seen. Go ahead, man.
No, I mean, I agree with you. Just the fact that we have the capability through ministry or black churches to set up our own educational system that the state nor the federal government can really intervene and still have to protect, based off the First Amendment right? And now give us the footing that they also have to recognize that educational system, so when the children graduate from 12th grade, those credentials have to be recognized if you do it the right way, right? Our people, we got plenty of black teachers and stuff. They should know how to do this the right way, principals and all that, right?
Right. They heavy in the school system.
We heavy in it, so we should know how to run a whole school system anyways right now. Not to say that in certain cities it's not going to be the public school system that everybody can go to, right? I'm not saying don't have it. I'm just saying we should definitely be able to match, what we see from white church systems dealing with schools. You know what I'm saying? So
yes. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with it. I just wanted to show, and also it was a reason why that type of school system got changed to bring us all. See, to me personally, I think that whole introduction of those schools was really just a ploy to show and highlight the differences of the state-funded schools versus those, to give a reason to integrate, which they knew was the plan anyway. They were trying to make this great disparity on how the schools look, but I would argue that them kids in that time was getting better educated than what a lot of our kids get now in the public school, because them teachers, they were from the community. They knew them kids, went to church with them, knew they mama and them. They gonna teach the hell out of them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, shit, man, since you said that, the person you got on the screen, I don't know if you did that on purpose.
I did.
All right, Booker T. Washington. People debate about certain philosophies that talk about that part, right? And that could be debated about, you know what I'm saying? But what you can't take away is this man set up a system, a school system, a blueprint for everybody to, take and go use. You know what I'm saying? Man had the whole system. I'm looking at it right now. He was the architect of the largest black-run education and economic network in the United States between 1881 and 1915. This man right here. I mean, got it to Steve. Tuskegee.
He did it. Yeah.
He did it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that you just got to look at certain things and like you look back and be like, damn, okay. So has it evolved or has it duplicated? Are we seeing this? And what, I don't know, y'all in the chat out there, by the way, peace to the party. You know what I mean?
Peace to everybody.
What y'all think in the chat? Let us know. What do you think that we've been able to do what we see Booker T. Washington do coming out of segregation, Emancipation Proclamation, coming out of the Emancipation Proclamation? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I see people in the chat. So basically, so from earlier, a Bella artist, she say churches used to help build communities. Now they just extract wealth. And that's the whole thing, because to pull this off with these schools, they was hitting up the church. The church helped them do it.
And everything, so you put your money there, and you look and then because the people, the church is for the people, right? Ministries for the people, and then the people want this done, so we're going to put our money here, and that entity is now being used to open up these things to help the community. You know what I'm saying? That's how it's supposed to work. So, I'm not saying, again, shout out to all the beautiful black schools with qualified black teachers, by the way. I just think, as you said, Monte, in comparison, we should definitely have a bigger ideal to send our children to these schools if they're there. You know what I mean? Too.
Yeah.
And maybe that might be a problem too. That maybe what it costs to get into these schools, etc. Maybe they're not being highlighted enough.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If there is a whole bunch of them that we don't know about, and if y'all do know about them, y'all need to go ahead.
We need to be promoting the hell out of them.
We need to be promoting. You know
yeah, for real.
For real.
And I think what she was saying, she referring to when we were showing them old schools, because they had some pictures in there.
Okay.
But we do need, though, it is possible. That's just the whole point of this, and that it used to exist and it was removed for a reason. Another one of them pillars, right? So now the community ain't teaching the community. It's coming through a standardized system from the federal government, bro. That's never a one-size-fit-all education. Don't make sense in no place, because it's not a one-size-fits-all world where everybody's the same. You feel me?
No, it ain't. So I'm gonna give another note about Homeboy real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, Booker T. Washington, basically in the 1900s, over 1,000 black schools across Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, Louisiana, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. You know what I mean? This was called as a Tuskegee model schools, right? So all of them, they had a system. Like I said, the man set up the systems. Like, so if anybody, we might need to do a build on that in general. Where are these schools at today, or what happened to them and how they shut down? When did they start shutting down? Or if they're open today, where are they at? Just to point out to something that, we can look at the foundation of something and what happened to it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just that was early 1900s. What happened to that foundation, right? 100-something years later, do we even hear people talk about, you know what I'm saying, going to these schools now? Or are they different names now? Again, we're going to have to do a build on that. But either way, finance too. You know what I'm saying? Land purchases, business loans, mutual aid. Like, everybody should know about mutual aid societies going back before 1865. And obviously, black labor contracts, all the contracts and certain things, and helping people get into the labor part of certain things. Booker T. Washington, though, man, I give credit to where it's due. Certain things you can't take from somebody, no matter if you disagree with other things. You hear me? So
it just is what it is. Certain points was put on the board. So whether you agree with what was being taught, or maybe you feel like his mission was something else, the fact that it was achieved, and he wasn't the only one, he just laid out this blueprint for others to be able to follow. You know what I'm saying? So whole purpose of that is to now at this time, say it again.
Booker T. Washington was running a black republic. Technically,
it is.
That's what this man was really doing, setting up economic school, working with the mutual aid societies and the churches. You know what I'm saying? That whole system is autonomous. You know what I'm saying? Got to point out, man built. He was doing something. He wasn't just. He was doing it. So
correct.
He put him on the screen, so I just got to shout him out. You heard me? So
facts. So now let's talk about. In order for them to get them schools, the main reason why they had to partner is because in the South they had the land to be able to pull this off. Right. So obviously, we all know that the land was the most important thing of the manifest destiny that we know of, that was by United States of America. Right. So another portion of that land that was very important was the way that we take care of ourselves, the food that we eat. Our ancestors was living way longer when they was living off the land. You feel what I'm saying? So then you got people like, they'll let politics, though, cloud their judgment. So if a politician says something that you actually agree with, but it's not the right politician, you'll spite yourself. So here go an example of that. Check this out.
We've been fed a corrupt food pyramid that has had a myopic focus on demonizing natural, healthy, saturated fats, telling you not to eat eggs and steak, and ignoring a giant blind spot. Refined carbohydrates, added sugars, ultra-processed food.
There's a lot of good things in this announcement, especially when talking about things like prioritizing protein, leaning into vegetables and fruits, making sure that we're incorporating healthy fats like olives, nuts, seeds, and focusing on whole grains and fiber-rich foods. But unfortunately, it doesn't erase the reality that millions of Americans face, which is the lack of ability to afford these high-quality, nutritious options. There is a space for all fats in our diet, but we have to acknowledge that there is enough evidence and enough data to understand that an increase in consumption of saturated fats, beef tallow, full fat butter, is associated to an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. And Diane, that's not something that's just from a textbook, and that's not something that's just on a page. We know it in reality. Patients who have a higher consumption of fatty foods and saturated fat have an increased risk of heart attacks and strokes, as opposed to unsaturated fats that come from things like olive oil and seed oils, which we know when we're comparing them in studies, if you have more unsaturated fat in your diet and a lower amount of saturated fat, that creates the benefit and better outcomes in terms of heart disease and strokes.
Hey, so I'm gonna play one more real quick. The whole what I'm getting at is I seen these on social media, these different political things happening, right? And because we're supposed to not agree with one side, we shouldn't even speak on something that if we actually do agree with it, right? Because to me, I've been saying long before now that the way the food system is set up in America, bro, the options that we are given is literally killing us. So we paying for our own demise when it comes to health, and it's legal somehow, right? Because you go to other countries, a lot of them will not sell the products that we are allowed to be sold in America. But you can only do that if now you can't grow your own food no more. You're dependent upon their food. It's the only way that this would have been possible was by controlling the land, taking away your independence with your food. So we sit here, we know these things happen. The black people is the highest with the diabetes, with the high blood pressure, all the things that lead to other sicknesses. We 50% obese, it's because we mainly eating a lot of processed stuff that don't agree with us. You feel me? So they come and said Trump say something, and all of a sudden, nah, it don't make no sense, even though we've been saying it. Because you got the boy, what's his name? Robert the Jr. He trying to get some of these dyes and different things out. And I'm trying to figure out why would any black person be mad with that?
That's a good question. Well, dependency or independency, you know what I mean? I guess it's all about your mind state of where your mind's at. Do you want to be more autonomous, or do you want to be dependent upon the system that you complain about? I mean, I don't know really. You know what I mean? Like, look, if it's not working and you saying it's not working, but you ain't getting from what you want from the situation, don't you got to go do your own thing?
It just is what it is.
So if somebody's telling you, man, look, we got a lot of things going on right now, you're going to have to handle your business. Or do you want somebody to sit there in your face and say, hey, we going to do something for you, we going to do something for you, and never do it?
That's the part that don't get me. You know, they come out with these proposals because he did also one about credit card. You heard about that?
Yeah.
So he tried to put a 10% cap for just like a year on credit card interest rates. Now think how many Americans, whether they black, white, whatever, that would help. But we supposed to say, nah, it's Trump doing it on, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, everything they blaming on Trump, it's just like, okay, we could blame everything on Biden.
Right.
Blame everything on Obama, the Bushes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I mean, based off even this title tonight, Manifest Destiny, I sent you, and I want to show them presidents. You know what I mean? We can go back and show actually how we've been you tied to this system. You're a citizen or a subject, whatever you look at it as, within being an American. You know what I mean? In that context, we can always say people were dependent in some kind of form, right?
Yep.
So, do you want less dependency or more dependency? You know what I'm saying? Because if they got more dependency, they in your business, ain't they?
A choice got to be made.
You know what I mean? So I think, I guess people got to leverage their freedom just of the entitlement of being an American. That's why you got, the two sides of the scale. Yep. But I'm not going to put everything on Trump. And I'm just like, I wouldn't put everything on Biden before.
You can't.
Because everything is not, it's two sides to the bird. So it's one body though, but that's been going on for ancient time. You know what I mean? Right. So that's nothing new. I just, people going to have to make their mind up to read through the information and really read what's happening. Because I think a lot of time too, they're getting bits and pieces of it, and they're not really reading it for themselves too. When it comes down to what they're hearing the president or the Congress is doing, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And they have to post everything that they do, right? Don't they?
Right. So you can go read it.
Yeah.
No.
It got to be public. Well, what they're doing, if Congress passes it, right? It got to be public. You know what I mean?
Correct. The
proposal
proposal and all.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Manifest destiny, though, man. Peace to the party once again. You know, we got our guest tonight, Sebastian, the approved guy, pulling up in a few minutes for the presentation of legacy generation and manifest destiny. As Monte was walking through that, just so we can get into information and everything he showed was kind of segueing into why we want a solution today, and I think our guest is going to present that to y'all. And at the same time, and that's not the only avenue, but it's an avenue that you could take to apply to yourself and not have to wait on either the parties. You know what I mean? You could do that collectively with your family or wherever the case might be to manifest your destiny, right? Within the history part of it, though, and the politics that we were just talking about, of how we put our hands in the politics' hands, the government's hands to manifest our destiny, and how you showed how Booker T. Washington and other people, you know what I mean? I can mention Richard Allen. We can mention different groups of people that used the similar same system prior to Booker T. Washington, and we're doing things to be able to be autonomous in the best way possible within their condition. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say it like that. Now, within the context, though, the United States going into 1865 and after, it was a lot of things going on, right? So when we think about the Civil War, you got these two parties. You know what I'm saying? At that time, going in, remember, when the Republican Party is formed, remember the Democratic Party predates, right? So look how things are going to work out within this. Can you make this a little bit bigger? Because I want to make sure they see this real quick. If not,
I got it. Hold on.
Okay, make it a little bit bigger. That's good. I could work with that. All right, so y'all see it though. That's good. Right here, we showed y'all this a couple of days ago, or not days ago, weeks ago, because how our shows work. I be thinking in days, that's not good.
Yeah.
But when we did Manifest Destiny, and matter of fact, we had our guest Travis with us. You know what I mean? He had some history, right? And I brought up this guy named John L. O'Sullivan, right? We gave you the foundation of him being the one that coined this term, manifest destiny. You know what I'm saying? So being that we got it in the title, I want to make sure he gets highlighted in the politics of that time and what our people had to deal with based off what they were doing at this time. You know what I'm saying? And them manifesting their destiny. You know what I'm saying? Now, at the same time of this, U.S. expansion, again, is tied to the advocating for the annexation of Texas at the time. Sullivan, known for like the line frames, U.S. expansion and provincial inevitable. And I mess up that word all the time. Inevitable, right?
Yep.
The fulfillment of our manifest destiny to overspread the continent allotted by Providence for the free development of our yearly multiplying millions. During the peak period when the doctrine drove federal policy, you heard it says, right? Mm-hmm. Drove federal policy. It says Democratic administration pursued removal of native nations. That's going to be during the time frame of the Indian removal, manifest destiny. This is before Sullivan coins it. They were already in motion doing this manifest, what got coined. You know what I'm saying? They were already in motion when they coined it, put it like that. Now,
these Mississippi mound builders talking about being removing.
Oh, yeah, 1830. You have 5 civilized mound building culture, maroon peoples, all sorts of things going on. The indigenous mixtures happening in the Southeast. They want to get them out of there, right? Or you convert them to like baptism. To
either way, getting rid of it, though. That's the whole purpose.
No longer have this sovereign ideal of being down here governing this, put it like that. You know what I'm saying?
It's over.
Right? So during the peak, it says there, Democratic administration pursued, we read that, Southeast. Now, number 2, it says the war with Mexico and the acquisition for the vast Western territories. This is manifest destiny and what they're doing to get, America to where it is today, they say, right? Territorial laws, and that reopened and intensified the conflict over slavery expansion. We're going to slide up. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is just a little background because, this is just the past history and politics tied to it. You know what I'm talking about? Number 2, right there. Now look now. Manifest Destiny presented conquest as a moral duty. Its core claims were providence authorizes expansion, expansion spreads freedom while subordinating other peoples. The continent is allotted the U.S. settlement, O'Sullivan, 1845, writing makes the theology explicit. Providence is named as the grantor. You know what grantor means, right?
Yep.
Of a trust, right? Like trust talk. You know what I mean?
Of the continent.
Huh?
You've been granted the land through trust.
Grantor.
Yeah.
Now, key points of analysis. Manifest Destiny was not only a feeling in the culture, it functioned as a public justification for concrete state actions, treaty pressure, forced relocation, war initiation, and territorial incorporation. Oh, Lord, look at that. Slide on down.
They think this shit was just a marketing strategy. Boy, this is real deal.
No. We gonna want you to know we done survived them manifesting their destiny, you see. Now look, for politics during the manifest destiny time frame with their expansion. So when you hear about expansion, think of their manifesting destiny. Just put them things together. Time frame 1829 to 1861 is Andrew Jackson. We don't like Andrew Jackson. I don't know how other people. I'm letting y'all know in the Southeast.
The ultimate ops, bro.
Boy, listen here. He went against treaty. He broke everything.
He went against everything, bro.
He was like, man, we gonna do this. He was bold though. But Indian removals tied to him. Democrat, by the way. You know what I'm saying? He can let you know he's a Democrat. Martin Van Buren, 1837, 1841. Federal enforcement of removals, right? He did the federal part of it, right? U.S. Army ordered the Cherokee Nation, that's one Pacific, in 1838. That's one of them, right? James K. Polk, he's going to be a Democrat. You see the D next to their names. They all Democrats. 1845 to 1849. War message to Congress. May 11, 1846, Mexican-American War. This is when they're going out there and taking them places out there. You know what I'm saying? What's going on? All right. Franklin Pierce, Democrat, 1853 to 1857. Kansas-Nebraska Act signed May 30th, 1854. Repels Missouri Compromise. Repels the Missouri Compromise. Look who's doing all this. And they're manifesting their destiny.
That's in the citizenship right here.
They're doing a lot of stuff and they're manifesting.
Well, you put some heat right here. You put together right here, bro. I hope they understand this.
You know what I mean? Just on the low, just a little quick end. You know what I mean? Yeah. James Buchanan. 1857 to 61, Dred Scott decision announced. See, all these, they're doing their thing and their expansion and what they want to do in this time frame, politics to manifest their destiny, how they want to grant themselves the right to control the continent and areas of North America we call today. And they did it though. They manifested their damn destiny.
Hey, bro. Hey, I gotta say this real quick. So the legalese of this is so cold in a couple words. So look here. So the first one with Andrew Jackson. This is where they did the bullshit paperwork to basically say that the land has been granted to them now through this manifest destiny. Okay. So then after that paperwork, nothing happened as soon as that paperwork was signed. The enforcement come through the next administration as a Democrat through Van Buren. So he come put the federal power behind it to enforce the paperwork that was already signed, that the people who would be affected by that had no idea what's coming, because this is way above in the way in which they operate. So then now you got Polk, he come in, Mexican-American War, they got the treaty land that they needed to get to the West Coast, but now they got to deal with Mexico, aka New Spain back in the day. So they got to figure out a way to get with them. So now this is how they doing that paperwork to go to war with them.
Yep.
So then here go where it get real cold, bro. Now that they done got the land, they changed the indigenous status for everybody, starting with this Kansas-Nebraska Act into Dred Scott. This is your federal citizenship starting to pop up to make sure that you can't be sovereign no more.
This is what they do. And they're manifesting their destiny at the same time.
That's cold, bro. That's cold there, bro.
Listen here. So Andrew Jackson, that's just gonna give you all them in a little more detail so you can see it in detail. You can slide down slowly. We don't went over them right there. Though.
Yeah,
we went over them, so we gotta keep it moving. I ain't gonna, you know what I mean? Because this is just a little highlight of what I'm telling y'all I got when it comes to me saying what I say about this thing. You know what I'm talking about? So here we go. Any removals, all that right there. War, we got that. Yeah, I got 7 points there. See that? So I got 7.
Yeah.
I'm talking about 7 pillars of what's happening and then manifesting their destiny. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, manifest destiny was theology of conquest, providence, language, used to legitimize removal, war, and territorial reordering. It did not merely conquer land. It reorganized law, status, and personhood to fit expansion, declaration, manifest destiny, conquered names, borders, and jurisdictions. Yet conquest is not the final authority over covenant memory. That's why we bring y'all back today with this, how to manifest our own destiny, because we still have the will and we still here. We survived it. You
feel me?
Yeah, they knocked us to sleep a little while too, but now be a time
to wake up, bro.
Now. You heard me? So that was my that's my warm up, Monte. What you think?
Hey, bro, that's heat, bro. I'm switching my camera. Hold on.
Oh, you good?
But the way, so if they can't understand now, right? That what we trying to say is the whole factor of this system is what took away the ability to have the legacy in which our ancestors had established in this land. We understand the historical part, but we got to play offense too, not just defense, bro. So these are estate strategies and a way to set yourself up. You don't got to be a millionaire to care about your legacy and estate. You can create millionaires just from your life alone. You feel me? So understanding this stuff is the difference between you setting your generation up behind you or you falling completely off the board. And you got enough information to know that you could be the one that's helping your family do better. You feel me? That's kind of where it's at. So we got
crazy
though. Go ahead.
He did not show something about Abraham Lincoln and the Republican Party and how it should correlate within this, how Abraham and them were against the Democrats at this time. The Republican Party was formed to go against what they were doing at this time. You know what I mean? And them manifesting their destiny and the slave codes and all the things they were trying to uphold to keep control and grant themselves to manifest destiny. You know what I'm saying? What's up with you, Mike? You know what I'm
Yeah. Oh, I remember him. Yeah, Michael. Yeah. It was a black quarterback. Van Buren was the surname, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, hey, we got it. That's why y'all did. Shout out to you, bro. Because it's a whole nother conversation. But good catch, yeah. we got the Gullah Man's Choir too, Mac. And then
after that, we gonna bring on. Is he ready?
Correct. Yeah, I see him back there. He been getting his thing together, but I'm assuming he's ready. But we go to him. Then he can go set it off, bro.
Let's get it.
All right, so we're gonna go to Gullah Man Choir, y'all. We be back in a few, and we're gonna get to the masterclass, bro. Let the approved guy break it down to y'all, bro. It's gonna be very worthwhile, and there's a special offer that's coming just because of him coming to work with us. He said he wanted to look out for y'all, so stay around to the end so you can get the details. You know what I'm saying? So let's get to this first, though.
Yes, Lord. We left this truth in harmony. Make bigger world with the money that we get. Yet our little ones cry with so much life to live. Life to live. Life to live. We stand in the storm, still trusting in love. But when the table's set, who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? Millions were taken that belong to the children. Food meant for their hands never reached the building. A system built the doorway and opened it wide. Gave others all the comfort while we stood outside. The officers in power, pouring out hate. When not one gentle blessing reached the neighborhoods we made. They keep saying equity, calling it trust. Yet the blessings keep on flowing everywhere but us. They the world with the money that we get. Yet our little ones cry. Show up faithful, standing strong and just. So when the table set, who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? We carry the burden of taxes and patience. Still we watch our schools fade in desperation. For the far when it happens far away.
us whenever we stray. Our voices keep lifting each election year, yet the love and protection never seem to come near. Promises repeated, settling it does, while resources in favor never fall. Lift our hopes, lift our hearts, guide our children, got that star. No more silence, no more hugs. Tell this nation who's speeding up, who's speeding up. Let's feed the world with the money that we need. Let our little ones cry. So much life to live. Ooh, life to live. Life to live. When we stand in faith, then offer our trust. Tell us again, who's feeding love? When we stand in faith, then offer our trust. Tell us again, who's feeding love? Who's feeding us? 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 Listen close. Listen close. Grandma said, don't forget your name. Paper tells stories people don't explain. They move lines, they rewrote claims, left us working and changed the game.
I had to learn what wasn't shown, who on the ground before it was loans. Truth don't shout, it's speaking codes. If you read it slow, it brings you home.
They taught us how to make a way, never taught us how to save the pay.
I ain't chasing what don't last, I'm building forward from the past. Oh, L-E-G-A-C-Y.
We need land and titles, you'll see why.
L-E-G-A-C-Y.
Well, we know today decide tomorrow's side.
L-E-G-A-C-Y.
More than money, it's the why.
L-E-G-A-C-Y.
What we leave when we goodbye. They said dream, never said own.
Never said this deed was once your home. Never said sign and mean control. Just told us shine and lose the road.
So I look back to move ahead, found value in what elders said. If they erased it, it was bread. If they hid it, it was fed on, yeah. Read it slow. I ain't rich yet,
But I'm aware,
every move got
purpose there. Yeah,
trust, land, and family plans.
that's how freedom touched the hand.
This ain't anger,
This is sight
turning knowledge
into right.
what we fix in our lifetime. Make it easier for the next to climb.
L-E-G-A-C-Y.
We need land and titles, you see why.
L-E-G-A-C-Y.
What we know today decide tomorrow's side.
L-E-G-A-C-Y. change everything. If my name survived the flames, then my kids gon' do the same. That's what we leave. Yeah.
Yeah. Chick. I'm telling you. Hey, bro. Hold on, man. Where we at with it, man?
Again, it's tied to. Listen, man, listen, I'm trying to play it back. You got me? I'm trying to go back.
Yeah.
Listen, this right here. Yeah, I hear this.
Yeah.
That right there. Listen here. GMC, you heard me?
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro.
There's a little feedback. What you talking about? Tap in, you heard me?
Tap in, bro.
That's what I'm talking about, though. GMC, you heard me? Yeah. But yeah, man, it's your boy. Gullah Mac Gaither, you heard me? The harsh reality is live life autonomously. You hear what's for Sunday service. Monte, homeboy with the news. You know, we our guest tonight. You know what I mean? We in the back, so we gonna hold it. You know, y'all need to pay attention. Get your notes.
Oh, yeah.
Tap in, because he about to give y'all something. It's you know, because we want to make sure we talk about history all the time and politics sometimes and all that good stuff, but we want to give you solutional based things too. I mean, that's what the party's about. Autonomously, you know what I mean? Like, you know, Booker T, he gave it to you within his own ecosystem. You know what I mean? People you know that's doing things and that we think the community need to tap into. You heard me? And again, this ain't saying that we ain't selling nothing as far as making you go here or whatever, but it's
straight information.
And information is information, and you take it and you do with it as you will. You heard me? Tap in with my man though, the approved guy.
I'm about to bring him up now. Let's get it popping.
Let's get it.
Hey, we got feedback, bro.
You can hear me?
Yeah, you good. Okay, we live now. We good.
All right, cool. Bet.
You still got feedback coming?
Nah, you good. It wasn't you. It was Mac.
All right.
Oh, it's Mac. All right, cool.
What they do?
What's up? Yo, first let me apologize. I'm doing some construction in my office and I threw up my green screen and the internet's whacked out, so I'm on my iPhone and I have the main screen on, but it's moving really slow. But I'm gonna keep that one on so I could share my screen, or I could at least try to share my screen. So forgive me for the unprofessional background. And you know, the enemy of your mind, your soul, and your spirit is gonna try to defeat you. And for the last hour while we've been here, I've been trying to fix this.
I saw you moving back in and out.
I've been fighting it, and the reason why is because the information that I'm gonna go over is information that is not taught in schools, is information that unless you have a mentor or you were born into a family that is teaching this information, we're not taught it, right? I know my family didn't teach it. My mother, Jamaican, father, Haitian, they didn't teach me this stuff. They didn't know this stuff. As a matter of fact, my mother passed away in June of 2024.
Yeah, man.
And had we had this information, it would have been a whole different story. The transition, the last year of her life would have been a different experience. And so, we're talking about legacy, right? We're talking about manifesting destiny. My system, it's not mine. When I say mine, I mean I was gifted, I was graced the information and put it together in a way that I hope will be logical and make sense. But it's not my information. This information, I call it the legacy generation system. I can you pull up the other one of me as well, because I'm gonna kind of share here and there. All right, perfect.
Now.
Yeah, perfect. So from time to time, I'll share over there. Okay, so yeah, the legacy generation system, right? It's a legacy, and it's generation. Generation means to create, right? To start something and create, but it also means generational, meaning not what we do now, just here and the now, but what are we going to do for the next generation and the next generation? What the vision that we have in our mind's eye
for our lifespan, and what we can create is limited by our vision. It's what the only thing that we will ever manifest is what we can see.
Yep.
And so nothing that we cannot see will be manifested. A lot of people just praying and hoping they win the lottery, praying and hoping they're gonna, make it big, but they have no vision. So it's never gonna change because you can't see it. But as soon as you can see it, it exists. It exists, right? Now the crazy thing is there's nothing that we can create that doesn't already exist, because everything that we have, all the materials that we have to work with, are already in play. We already have it. The whatever your faith or your belief system is, right? God didn't, he didn't create a desk. He created the atmosphere, the platform for a tree to grow.
Yeah.
And then the man had to take that tree and make it a desk or make it a chair, right?
Generate.
So the resources that are available to us are infinite. And what that means is that the resources that we have are not ours. It doesn't belong to me. I am a steward of those resources.
Yeah.
We have been taught that we have to step on each other. We have to be better than the next person, and we have to get for ourselves. And we've been taught to set our vision on the here and now and the temporary. So our vision is very limited because it's only on meeting our immediate needs. So if I'm only asking the creator, if I'm only asking, to pay the bills or to just get by, pay off that debt, then that's all I'm going to get, because I can't see beyond it. I'm limited in my vision, right?
Yep.
So the vision that we have is so important. And so the legacy generation system, the vision is generational. And if all of the resources that are available to me have been given to me by the creator, and there's infinite resources available, and as a steward, I have access to those resources. And if my vision is on generations, then I have unlimited potential. Even what I cannot see will manifest, because I'm now tapping into the creator, his resources, and a vision of generation, which is not limited to me, myself, and I in this lifetime. Most of us are thinking about in the next year, next 5 years, 10 years, right? They talk about creating your dream board. What do you see yourself in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years? Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. That's a good, we want to be able to see the vision, long term and interim, intermediate, you have to set goals. As a matter of fact, it's even wise not even to stay fixated on the vision or the goals, but stay fixated on the tasks that you have to achieve to accomplish those goals. Just stay focused on the task at hand. But by setting the vision, you're heading towards something, versus if you have no direction, you have no vision, then you're just aiming in the dark, shooting at nothing. I mean, you might get something, you might not. And that's where, it gets very frustrating for a lot of us, because we may taste a little bit of success, but it's fleeting. It's like we're always trying to catch it and we can't keep it. And that's just because we don't have vision. So when you told me, Mac, that, the theme for the year is manifesting destiny, I really wanted to start this conversation with that vision and setting that reality that, what are we thinking of? What are we setting our eyes on as our vision? Is it just for me to gain access to assets and finances so I could live it up and have access to do the things I want to do? I want to have nice things. I want to go places. I want to take my family, and these things are nice, right? But if we go back to Solomon, right, when he inherited the kingdom from David, he was given a choice. The angels asked him, "What do you want? Ask for anything, and I'll give it to you." God directly, the Most High, said, "What do you want? I'll give whatever you want." And he asked for wisdom. He said, "Give me wisdom to lead your people." And then because he asked for wisdom, he was given everything else. And that's because that's the mind of a steward. That's the mind of a steward. A steward is somebody who is taking care of something that is given to him as a gift. I'm going to take care of your asset better than I'm going to take care of my asset. If you let me borrow your very nice car, I'm going to make sure I don't put a ding on that car, and I'm going to give it back to you with a full tank of gas, even if you gave it to me with a half tank of gas, right? I want to return it to you in better shape than you gave it to me. That is the idea of being a good steward. Why? Because you're going to be like, yo, I'll let Seb borrow my car any day, right? Because you gave it to me with half a tank, I gave it back to you with a full tank and a detailed job, like, looking perfect, better than it was when you gave it to me, right? However, you let me borrow the car, and I bring it back to you dirty, smelling all weird, and and
You ain't
the
getting it
tank
back.
is
You ain't
a
getting it
quarter
back.
tank.
You
You
ain't
ain't never,
gonna
right?
let you use it again. No.
Right. So many of us, a lot of us are are squandering the resources and the gifts that we have. We don't appreciate the little bit that we have, but yet we're trying to get more. So how are we going to deal with more if we can't even handle a little bit?
Hey, just say, the saying, as you said, it brought up, Solomon and the gift that was bestowed upon, and he asked for wisdom. And, obviously in common day time, they say that God will give you only what you can handle. You know what I'm saying? So you could hope for a lot of things, but your will, your knowledge, your wisdom, your understanding, and how to apply it is really what's going to get you there, with the resources and how you use it with the wisdom. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, hey, that crown that Solomon had, and everybody else's head that's here listening, it can get heavy at times. You know what I mean? And it's going to take discipline with the wisdom to get through some things. You hear me? And sometimes we don't have it because we are taken for granted, you know what I mean, as the grantor to get to where we want to grant ourselves to be, to not really handle the things that we have right now and not maintain those things in order to really think about taking on something else to maintain. Because even if you buy a new house or you buy a new car or you buy anything and you want to be, you still got to maintain it. So in stewardship, it's the crown is heavy. You know what I mean? Even if it's not yours, as you say, but the God gave it to you. You know what I'm saying? So you just a steward of God. You hear me? But at the same point, on the plane of action, people have to understand how to maintain what's in their hands. You know what I mean? And we got families at this point. We see sometimes things falling through the cracks because people are not prioritizing and hitting the things that's in front of them head on. We run away from them a lot of times. So that's why this presentation you got, it's kind of can give people a foundation to being able to at least have a foundational ideal of how to set up, even on a family level, the conversation generationally. You know what I mean? And legacy, because Jay-Z said it. You know what I'm saying? Legacy, legacy, legacy. You know what I'm saying? And really, I think people really think that's only for rich people. You know what I'm saying? But it's not, because once you set up a trust with insurance policies, right? Sab, you've been on the show before. That's setting up legacy. You see what I'm saying?
I'm gonna go through it. I'm gonna go through it. But what I found is, if we don't have the right mindset, that we can have all the knowledge, all the information,
you will execute.
We're just gonna squander it. We're not, or we'll use it, but then we'll give up because we don't see an immediate, instant result. Because this mindset, this legacy building, is not a get rich quick scheme. It's not a I'm gonna make it big tomorrow. And no, this is an adjustment to your lifestyle. This is an adjustment to how you spend your money. Instead of saying, oh, this is my money and I could do with it what I want, this money is given to me. What am I supposed to do with it? It's just a change of a question. Instead of saying, what am I going to do with it? Asking myself, where I could just go spend it, do whatever I want. And I'm going to tell you guys something why in a second. I'm asking the creator, what do you want me to do with this? right? That changes the dynamics now, because if I'm having a conversation, I learn how to meditate and listen and hear, right? Then I'll be given instructions maybe to help somebody, right? Many of us won't give a penny or a dime to help another person, right? But yet we want help, or we need help, right? And there's principles in giving, there's principles of stewardship that basically whatever we give, think of it like this. My shovel, I got a little bitty shovel, right? But the creator, he got a big old shovel. So I could shovel 90% of my income to good causes, worthy causes, to help others, right? And the principle is that I will get that back tenfold.
Right.
Now, that's not an easy thing to do if you're not used to giving. It's not an easy thing to do, but giving by itself is a test of one's character. And what are we doing here? Is this just for me, for my own personal joy, my own benefit, or is it for my community? Is it for, am I a vessel that's being used to bless others, or is it just for me? If you're a vessel to be used to bless others and you ask for wisdom, you will receive more than you can imagine if you have the mind of a steward and the heart of a steward. And if your vision is set on generation versus just this temporary existence, you will get all of the things you want to enjoy, the things you like. It doesn't mean you're not supposed to have nice things. We should have very nice things. We should have all of the nice things. But if our focus is on the nice things, then that means that our level is here. Where if we're thinking generational, our level is up here. So we're going to get the nice things. And that's the difference. That's why Solomon was given everything, because he was seeking a much higher reality of existence. And he understood that he was a steward, and that everything he had was just a gift that he was given the responsibility to steward. So I hope that helps somebody that's listening, to just think it through in that way. And I also want to talk about real quick purpose, calling, and destiny, because I struggled with this for a long time. Because a lot of us are walking around, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? And then, what's my calling? And there's a little bit of confusion between purpose and calling and destiny. And what I found is that your purpose is what you were created to do. It doesn't change. It's who you are at the core from creation. Like, it is what you were created to do. It is your purpose. Your calling changes from one moment to the next moment based on where you are and who you're around and what circumstances are around you. You may be called to help somebody out at the grocery store. You may be called to a job that you hate, but that job is a bridge to the next level. Yet you treat the job with disdain and disrespect, but you want the next level though. Right? And I'm speaking to myself, because when I was younger, I had jobs that I treated with disdain and disrespect, yet I wanted the next level, right? But I didn't have anyone to teach me this stuff, right? I didn't have someone to teach me, look, that job is a bridge. You treat that job as if it was a gift from God, and you put everything into it. As much as you hate the job, put all of your soul into it, love it, and you're going to get promoted. And through that promotion, doors will open. But we treat the little things with disdain and disrespect, right? I got a $200 deposit in one of my accounts from a client who just sent me a payment, but I want to get the $10,000 deposits in my account. So when I got the $200 deposit, I was just like,
you don't appreciate
it. Happy,
But now I've learned, no. Thank you so much for the $200 for that little bit. You know what I mean? Because that little bit, if I steward it properly, if I care about the little, then I can manage and be given much. Because money is simply a reflection of who you really are. If you're a piece of, it's going to show up louder.
See that.
You know what I'm saying? It's not going to change you to be somebody different than who you are. It's just going to reveal who you really are.
Even more.
Exactly. So your purpose That's who you were designed and created to be. Your calling, that changes from time to time based on circumstances. Where your purpose and calling meet, that's destiny. That's destiny. And so with that, I've been working on this project for about a year now. I finally released it. For me, I believe this is my purpose and my calling.
That's what's up.
This is why I put this together. And so the last thing I want to do before I jump into the class or the teachings is we all have limiting beliefs. We all have beliefs that have been taught to us either through friends, family, the world that we live in, and sometimes it's just our own experiences where we have a negative experience and then we associate that negative experience as truth and reality, and then that becomes our framework for how we approach future experiences. And so we're already defeated before we even begin. And so there's a system that I've learned. It's called CAD, Clarity Alignment Design, CAD. And there's a belief reframing system process that anybody can take themselves through. And it's very simple. Your belief controls your narrative. Your narrative dictates your emotions. Your emotions display your behavior. Your behavior creates an outcome, and that outcome reinforces the original belief. That's the belief loop. Belief, narrative, emotions, behavior, outcome. Belief, narrative, emotions, behavior, outcome. You can take any thought that you have about anything that you've experienced, and you have to be honest with yourself and see that you're having a negative thought or a limiting belief thought. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine I was talking to, he said to me, "Man, I don't really want to make millions. I just want to make enough to feed my family and for us to be really comfortable." And I was like, "Wow, that's a limiting belief, bro." He's like, "Why? That's not a limiting belief. I really don't want to. I don't want all that." Yeah, but still, you just cut yourself off from even the potential of it even happening because you just like literally declared that you just need a little bit.
Mind over everything.
Right. So even if you don't necessarily feel you need all that, don't make that statement. Open up a possibility for infinite resources, and then if that's the case, give 90% away. Keep 10% for yourself if that's all you need.
That's
right?
a good point. Yeah.
But don't put yourself in a state where now you're struggling to get to the 10% that you're trying to make because you just limited your capacity off of a limiting belief. So let's put that belief through this framework, right? What's the belief? The belief is, I don't need all that. I could just live off a little. Okay. What's the narrative? The narrative is, I don't have to, compete or go to work as hard as other people. I'm just going to stay in my lane and do this. Okay. What's the emotion? The emotion was, I think it was a feeling of resentment towards other people that had more success, and also a little bit of contentment towards himself. Said, okay, was the behavior. I work hard, but I'm stressed all the time. I have anxiety, and ultimately, I don't have joy. Okay, what's the outcome? The outcome is I'm struggling. I'm not making as much money as I want to make. Okay, so let's reframe the belief. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's replace this belief with, I have unlimited resources and I am blessed beyond measure with abundance and overflow. What's the narrative? The narrative is, I have access to everything I need and more. What's the emotion? Freedom, excitement, hope, anticipation. What's the behavior? I go get it. I'm at it with joy. What's the outcome? Positive results, more income, more flow into my system. So it's up to you. It's up to me. It's up to us if we're going to stick with the same beliefs, or we can reframe them through this process of belief, narrative, emotions, behavior, and outcome. So I just wanted to kind of start there. If anyone gets anything from this beyond what I'm about to share, I hope this right here is what you take, because this right here can change everything. Belief, narrative, emotions, behavior, outcomes.
I like that.
All right. The legacy generation system is a system that's designed to help you to build, protect, and multiply generational wealth. I have a feeling my system's going to drag, so maybe you could pull up the link that I sent you guys and share it on the screen.
Monte, you there?
If not, I'll try. Let me see if it works. Share.
Must have to step away for a second from the board, so
It's all good. I got it here. All right, cool. All right, did that come up?
see on my side I can't see. That's why I'm trying to see where he is.
Oh, he has to reveal it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So for anybody who's watching, it's legacygenerationsystem.com/autonomous party. Autonomous party. And you can access the masterclass for free. There are 7 pillars to this system. The 7 pillars of the legacy generation system are: number 1, your personal wealth philosophy. So this has to do with your identity. This has to do with.
Hold on real quick before you. Can you show it, Monte? Can you pull up on your side?
All right, there it is. Perfect.
There we go.
Okay, so you just come here, click get instant access. Monte, could you just go ahead and go in? Okay, get instant access. You just have to put in your name and email.
You want me to actually do it on my end, you said?
Yeah, please. So they can see exactly how it works.
Yep. Give me 1 second to get it set up.
Sure. So while he's doing that, the 7 pillars of the legacy generation system. Number 1 is your personal wealth philosophy. Know thyself and build with purpose. So this is what we have just been talking about. This is why I spend a little bit of time on that, because that's the first pillar, right? It all starts with, who am I? What is my beliefs? What are my values? And am I living my life at the standard of values and beliefs that I really hold close, or am I living my life off of other people's values and other people's beliefs? Because a lot of us, what we do is we go with what sounds good based off of other people's success. And just because something works for one person doesn't mean it's going to work for the next person. And sometimes that has to just do with different values, different beliefs about what you're truly aligned with. So this has to the first pillar has to deal with alignment and getting into alignment with your creator, with the source, with purpose and identity, so that when you build from there, you're building on solid ground, not on sand, but you're building on a solid ground of identity and purpose. The second pillar is your wealth reserve contract, and that's where the wealthy store their savings, positioning your income into a system that keeps your dollars working, accessible, and protected. We're gonna look at that much closer as we proceed. The third pillar is private control structures. Private control structures is protecting the castle without giving up the keys. It's the legal instruments that make your legacy intentional, strategic, and protected. So simply put, these are trusts. So I'm going to come back and elaborate a little bit on trust. The fourth pillar is tax flow engineering, keeping more of what you make. Mastering how to legally minimize tax exposure and rerouting dollars back into your system. The fifth pillar is smart leverage and access, funding expansion without draining your system. You're going to learn how to access capital with personal and business credit and leverage debt without adding any stress on your wealth reserve contract. The sixth pillar is freedom in retirement, giving yourself permission to spend, having a plan in place for guaranteed lifetime income, long-term care, and spousal replacement income. And the seventh pillar is legacy protection and multiplication. This is your family constitution. Create the roles, the rules, and guidelines to protect and increase your legacy in future generations. So these 7 pillars are not a theory, they are a system. And systems don't rely on emotion or luck, they rely on structure and strategy. This system was created so that you don't just build wealth, but you keep it, you grow it, and you pass it on with purpose. So what I want to really help you all to start to understand is for this whole system to make sense is you have to understand what is the velocity of money. The velocity of money measures how often the same dollar is used within a given period to fulfill financial objectives. Wealth isn't created by how much money you earn, but how efficiently each dollar moves through your system. Velocity is how fast and how many times your money works before it leaves your control. So most of us, when we get paid income, we deposit that money into a bank account, into a checking or savings account, and then we pay our living expenses, our bills, and then we pay our debts. So our money is going out in one direction, it's gone, and we'll never see it again. The wealthy create systems where they are able to use that same dollar at least 2, if not 3 times before it leaves their control. And this is the wealth reserve contract and a system called infinite velocity, which I'm going to teach you today. So most of us are focused on income, interest rates, and investment returns, while the wealthy, they focus on flow, reusing the same dollar, control, and capital efficiency. A dollar used once is linear, while a dollar reused repeatedly is exponential. So here are some key terms. The velocity of money is the frequency a dollar is reused before exiting your control or your system. Flow is the movement path of money. So you have to think of money as energy. It's in motion. Money has a purpose like everything else, and its purpose is to be spent, which means it is always seeking to be spent, to be moving to the next location, to move. It's never meant to stay still or be stagnant. It's flow. Think of water in a river. If water in a river is moving, life can live in that river. It creates life. It creates abundance on the banks of the river. Trees and animals come to drink from the water. But where the water becomes stagnant, it builds mold, it builds mildew, it builds bacteria. No life can live in that dead water. In Jamaica, we call it lele water. And so you don't want to drink you don't want to mess around with lele water. You want to drink from a river that's flowing. It's pure and it has life. Money is the same thing. As soon as money stays still, it dies. It loses value. Because with inflation, even if your money's sitting still, you think you're doing the right thing. I'm keeping my money safe. No, you're not. It's losing value. And because it's not growing, you're not multiplying it. As inflation and time passes, it's losing value when you go to deploy it later on. So the movement of money is flow. Friction is anything that slows down or penalizes the money movement. So if you have an account that slows down your money movement or penalizes you if you try to keep your money moving, then that's creating friction. Liquidity is the speed at which money can be accessed. Capital efficiency is output produced per dollar, and control is who decides how and when your money is used. Infinite velocity is a system where money continuously cycles without interruption. The wealth reserve account or the wealth reserve contract is the core storage position for your capital when you are practicing infinite velocity, keeping the money flowing. Interruptions are events that stop any compounding from occurring: withdrawals, penalties, market losses. Capital recycling is reusing the same dollar for multiple purposes. Your opportunity cost is what the dollar could have done if it remained in motion. And this is where most of us are. With our money, we have our money in accounts, checkings, savings, 401k, even in investment accounts that, though they may be growing, they're serving only one purpose. We don't have access to them. So the opportunity cost is the cost of what could have been done if you had access to your money that are stuck in these accounts. And because you can't access them, you are unable to deploy them. External capture is when money permanently leaves the system. So that once your flow leaves your system, it's gone. It's external capture. So the traditional model is we earn income, we pay expenses, we save our leftovers, we invest long term, and we hope and pray that our returns outpace our losses. That's what we've been taught. The problem is your money leaves your control. The growth pauses when you access it, meaning if you try to get access to the money, the growth of that account is no longer capable. It's not able to grow while you're using it at the same time. There are multiple silos, meaning you may have several places where the money is experiencing friction: a checking account, a savings account, a retirement account. So they're all separate accounts that are inefficient and creating friction where the money is not in flow. And there are time-based access restrictions, and again, high friction. We want velocity. We want to be able to use the same dollar over and over and with speed. So what is infinite velocity? Infinite velocity is the intentional design of a system where money never stops compounding. Access does not interrupt growth. The same dollar is reused repeatedly. Capital always returns to the core. Infinite velocity is not about speed. It's not about a quick come up. It's about continuity. It's about being able to reuse the same dollar over and over and over. The loop. Income enters your wealth reserve contract or your wealth reserve. Capital continues compounding inside the wealth reserve. Capital is accessed through loans. They are leveraged and deployed to investments or to pay off debt. Cash flow is then returned back to the system by you repaying back the loan that you've given yourself. You replenish the capital reserve, your system expands. What we don't realize is that when we put our money in a bank, in a checking account or savings account, the bank is immediately taking that money and deploying it into these wealth reserve accounts, and then leveraging those accounts to invest in other assets, including lending that money back to you, dictating to you if you qualify based on credit and income, and then when and how much you have to pay because they control the narrative. So this system, infinite velocity, gives you the ability to take back control so that each dollar has many jobs instead of just one.
Sab.
Yes, sir.
So with that being said, I don't know. Did you want to Monte? I don't know if you got it open yet. Cause I want you just to land.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. So did you wanted me to go to the book on the website?
Yeah, just go in. I go ahead, just jump in. So if you register, just jump in.
Yeah, I did. I got it set up right now. Hold on, I'm about to bring it on screen. All right, so this is from the beginning right here.
Yeah.
After
So you talked about most of this already while we were waiting, just to make sure. Or is this where you?
No. So really, I've been, what I'm teaching is actually not actually here. This is going to be stuff that I would teach when I'm on a one-on-one with somebody. This is because this has to do with mindset. The biggest challenge that I have found when trying to help people is that because of the way we've been educated, we're either looking at everything that we put our money into as an investment. And if you are looking at your wealth reserve account as an investment, you're not looking at it properly. Whenever I talk to somebody and they say to me, well, after I've spent an hour or two with them, and then they come back and tell me, well, I don't know if I can afford that, or I don't want to pay that much for it. Then that means you didn't get it. Because what I'm teaching is you're simply changing two things in how you move your money, right? You're paying yourself first in your wealth reserve account, and then you're deploying it from the wealth reserve account as a loan that you make to yourself.
Would that wealth reserve account be a trust?
No.
Okay, I remember you mentioned trust earlier, so I know that's a part of this conversation with this whole thing. But so that account could be anything as far as a regular checking account, as far as somebody using it as their wealth reserve account, correct?
So I'm gonna drop a link in the chat. If you could pull this up, and let's look at this.
They hear you. You know what I mean? I want them to kind of understand from where they're at with how they're applying the wealth reserve account. Do they have to go create one? Can they use the one they already have to implement this in manifesting their, destiny based off of this, information?
Monte, please. I just dropped the Google Doc.
Okay, the private chat. Yeah, I see it.
If we could open that up. So the wealth reserve account is an account that has to have several features for it to work. Go ahead and zoom in, view, make it like 150 or 200 so we can see it nice and clear. And so this is a matrix of different types of accounts that potentially someone would look at as a wealth reserve account. None of these accounts actually are going to fit the bill of the wealth reserve account.
Okay.
Let me
good example.
Yeah, these just hold that there real quick. Let me get my list of what's required in that wealth reserve account. Hang on just a sec.
Okay, yeah. While you do that, I want to. So from the chat says Trump is about to end these people. We need to get off of their system. So this is what I would say to that. So obviously, in any business model, anything that you need, you want to be as vertically integrated as possible, right? To where you wouldn't have to depend on any other systems to be able to grow in business right now today, right? But unfortunately, we don't really live in that reality. So we gotta, and truthfully, this whole credit system was built off the back of what they took from our ancestors to be able to create this system here. So it's mindset. You know what I'm saying? It's all about mindset and how this is nothing but a tool. It's not the gospel or you know what I'm saying? It's just a reality of what it takes for
That's
your
exactly right. You got it, man. It's just a tool. So don't get hung up on what the tool is. Focus on what the tool can do. And that's where people get hung up. That's why I haven't even said what it is yet, Mac, because as soon as I say what it is,
I'm like, what is this? When he gonna give us this?
Yeah.
You
build it up.
Building me up now.
Because the thing is, as soon as I say what it is, people have preconceived ideas and notions as what it is, and what you have to understand is that it's about the contract and what the contract does for you. Okay, so what if we look at this matrix here? We have checking account, savings account, money market, CD, 401k, brokerage accounts, real estate equity, bank HELOCs, crypto, and then the wealth reserve account, which I'm going to reveal in just a moment.
Yeah.
None of these accounts meet all of the requirements. So look at the top. Liquidity. Is the money liquid? Can we get access to the liquid? How fast can we get access to it? Growth continues when used. This is where the only account that might do that, but not really, and that's why it says partial, is real estate. Because when you have your money in a real estate asset, the value of the property continues to grow, right? But you don't. It's a long term uh, uh, reality, or it takes time for the value to increase over time, and the actual liquidity that you have access to does not grow, but the equity can grow. Now, the problem is, again, is it liquid? No. Why? Because you have to apply, you have to qualify to get access to that liquidity, which would be a home equity line of credit or a refi cash out. So who controls the narrative? The bank does. It's your property, it's your equity, but to get access to the equity, you still have to qualify. Okay, you have the credit. Okay, you have the income. Your debt to income ratio is at around 40%, so you could qualify. Great. Now you get access to some equity. Well, the value of that equity is not going to grow. It's going to remain what it is. The value of the property may continue to increase over time, but that portion that you've gotten access to, it doesn't grow. Right? Now, what else is happening? The bank is dictating to you the due date, a minimum payment. And if you don't pay on those dates with that minimum, it's going to hurt your credit. So again, who's in control? The bank is. They control the narrative, right? So the closest product that could come to this account, to the wealth reserve account, is the real estate asset. But it's still lacking, right? It's not tax advantaged because you're going to pay income tax on the growth of the property value, right? You're going to pay income tax on a 401k. You're going to pay income tax on a brokerage account, income tax on pretty much anything. Even if you get a savings account, and I found a couple with like 3 or 4% interest. That's income. Any growth is taxable income, right? And if I take my money, if I deploy the money from the savings or checking account, it's no longer growing at that 3 or 4% because I have to take it out. So it's not fulfilling the objective of 2 jobs at the same time, right? So we're looking for permanent storage, uninterrupted growth, on-demand access, predictable rules, low friction, guaranteed re-entry, and tax advantages. There's only one product on the market that does that, and it's life insurance. I am a licensed life insurance agent. I sell life insurance. People call me and they're like, hey, I want to buy a life insurance policy. Okay, great. I'll go through some questions to try to help them to get clarity and serve them at the highest level. But sometimes people are just like, I don't want all that. Just sell me this insurance contract. I just want it for the insurance death benefit. No problem. We can do that. That's not what this is. The legacy generation system is using the life insurance contract as a tool, so that I can create my own bank.
Wait. So when you were saying contract earlier, this is the contract you're speaking of, correct?
Correct.
All right, make sure everybody heard that, right?
Yeah.
Didn't anybody got lost or anything within the contract? When he was saying contract the whole time earlier. Now he was hooking y'all up. See, but now, so the contract is tied to what you're calling the wealth reserve contract. The wealth reserve contract is tied to this policy that allows you to create this bank. And I know we talked about velocity banking. You brought your homeboy. What's his name? How you been, by the way?
Denzel Rodriguez.
When he had him on the show, brought it to us about velocity banking about 2 years ago. About 2 years ago. However, when you now are because you've been building on this, you know what I mean? So this system is tied to this contract. So go ahead now. I'm sorry.
Right. So if we could go back to the legacy generation go ahead and scroll down. So when you're in the masterclass, there's a video for each pillar. And then if you scroll down, there's going to be a book, and you can just go through the book. So if you keep going, yeah, you can expand that full screen that. Perfect. And then you could just go through that. So go back to the second pillar. There you go. That's the wealth reserve contract. So it's going to explain to you the features of this contract. Okay. So now, why is it's a life insurance contract? Because this is the only contract that exists. This is the only contract that exists that you can store your money in, and as it grows, it's tax-free growth, and you could borrow against it, and it's tax-free. And when you borrow against it, the key word I'm using is against, not from.
Yeah.
Against. So just like a real estate property, it has equity. This insurance contract has equity. If you're dealing with 99% of life insurance agents that are selling life insurance, they're going to design the policy where 80 to 90% of your premium is paying for insurance. It's buying a death benefit. So it's not designed, it's not optimized for a wealth reserve contract. It's just a life insurance contract that's a death benefit. And if you're a Dave Ramsey person, Dave Ramsey hates whole life insurance. Now, I'm going to talk about there's different types of insurance. Okay. There's term. These are the most popular ones, term, and then IUL, Index Universal Life.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about, the contract that we use, that I teach, that I use, is a whole life insurance policy. Simple, clean, pure whole life with a mutual insurance company that pays dividends to its shareholders. A mutual company doesn't have shareholders. As a customer, you become a partner with the company. They pay you dividends. So you are partnered with the insurance company. They pay you dividends. You have a guarantee of a certain amount of growth. There's a guarantee. And you get dividends as a bonus every year. These companies have been around for over 200 years. This is how the forefathers of this country, before the Federal Reserve was created, that's where they put their money. This is how they were banking.
Say it again. Say it one more time.
Yeah, nah, you cooking right now.
Say that one more
These contracts is what the forefathers of this country, before the Federal Reserve was created, this is where they were protecting their wealth. But your average layman could not afford that because they didn't have access to enough liquidity to put into these contracts. Now it's different. You don't need $1 million.
And what's
you don't need $100,000. Say again.
What's the policy one more time tied to this?
It's a whole life insurance contract.
Okay.
With a dividend paying mutual company designed and optimized for maximum cash value.
Okay.
And that's the key. So when I design a policy for my client, I'm putting 90%, 80% in some cases, but between 80 to 90% of the premium into the cash value. What is the cash value? It's called PUA, paid up addition, in the contract. This paid up addition, this PUA, this cash value, just to simplify it, it's a vault. It's where your money sits inside the insurance contract, that it's not where it's growing, compounding interest, and getting paid dividends. This is basically a savings account built into the insurance contract. So I'm using the contract so I can get this savings account, because inside this savings account, my money is protected in most states from litigation. You can't even sue me. Love him or hate him, O.J. Simpson. Hey,
yeah,
he had his money in these contracts. He lost the civil charges. They couldn't get his money. Why? Because his money was protected insurance. That's why. There's some wealthy people, I'm not going to name names, that have up to 80 of these contracts, 80. Banks own more of these contracts than any other assets. It's the number one asset that banks own. It's called bank-owned life insurance, BOLI. Look it up. BOLI, bank-owned life insurance. They own more life insurance than they own land or commercial property.
That should tell you everything you need to know. Yeah, because I didn't know that.
Yeah. So what I told you earlier is when we put our money in the banks, it's not sitting in the bank. You're never going to see that dollar again. If you mark that dollar and look, see if you ever get that dollar back again, that actual same dollar that you put in. No, you're not. The minute you put it in the bank, it's gone. The bank is buying bank-owned life insurance. They're invested in other assets. They're deploying it into other investments and borrowing it, lending it back to you at high interest rates with credit attached and sometimes collateral, including your home or other assets. So all we're doing is we're using this contract so that we can protect our money inside this contract. It grows tax-free. We can borrow against it, not from it. So just like you can get a home equity line of credit, you can get a policy loan. There are even banks that give you a cash value line of credit, and there's a time to use that versus the policy loan, depending on what you're trying to achieve. But when you borrow against your cash value, there's no credit check. You don't have to qualify. You don't have to apply. It's your equity. You're just borrowing against your own liquidity that you've built up into the policy. But it doesn't leave the policy. That's the magic.
Wait, so hold on. Let's talk real chicken here, because this is so check this out. So for layman's terms, for the people who this may be the first time they've ever heard this. I'm gonna try to put this into. I'm gonna ask questions and see, and you can break it down to them. So let's say I want to get into real estate. Let's say I've done a couple properties, right?
Yeah.
But now I don't want to use a hard money lender. I want to be able to fund my own project myself. Would I be able to do something like that with a policy like this?
So first, let me say this. There's a big chance, I'd say 50-50 chance, the hard money lender is doing this.
That's crazy.
Number one, most likely. Okay, most likely. So the answer is yes. Now, you have to build up equity.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
So you got to put money in.
You got to fund your bank. You got to fund your bank. The bank doesn't fund itself. You have to create the bank. So depending on your income level, you can start small. You can start funding your bank with what you have. Start building that wealth reserve contract. That's what I call it. It's your wealth reserve contract. Now it's starting to come full circle.
With yourself?
Say again?
It's like a contract with yourself.
You got it. So there's two commitments. One commitment is the base premium that purchases the insurance contract. So I'm going to use $100,000. Yeah. $10,000 purchases the contract. $90,000 goes into savings. Okay. Let's bring it down to $100. $10 purchases the contract. $90 goes into savings. Okay. Now that $90 starts growing with guarantees, compounding plus dividends year over year over year. By your third or fourth year, the first year on $100, it's going to cost $10 to save $90. On the second year, you're paying the same amount, but because of the compounding from the previous year to this next year, it's going to cost me $5 to save $90. On the third year, I'm not going to be paying to save $90. I still have to pay my premium. But when I look at the ledger of the compounding interest growth, there's no longer technically an insurance cost to me. It's a slingshot effect. For the first year or two, there's a little bit of a pullback. Think of a slingshot. It's like rubber band, right? You put the stone in the slingshot, you pull it back, it creates tension, and then when you let it go, it moves forward with velocity and momentum, right? That's all we're doing. So for the first year or two, there's a cost of insurance, but you overcome that within the first 2 years. And then for the rest of your life, the policy grows, compound interest plus dividends, tax-free. You're in the positive. Your contract is just getting bigger and bigger. By year 10, your money, if you're doing, let's just say, I don't know, $10,000 a year, that's $100,000. You'll see 130. You know, we have to look at illustrations. I'm
Yeah.
licensed agent, so I have to be careful when I
Correct.
say things like this, right? You know, everybody based on your age, based on your health, you're going to qualify for different rates. There's standards based on health that you qualify for. But I've seen designs, I've seen policies that by the 10th year on 100,000, 10,000 a year for 10 years, that policy has 130,000 on the 10th year of savings, right? By
Yeah.
the second or third year, that year it was profitable. Margins were profitable, right? Now here's the thing. This is the kickback. Well, I could take that same money and I could invest it in crypto. I could take that same money, I could invest it in real estate, and I could make much bigger returns. Guess what? You're right. Because crypto and the real estate, these are investments.
Right.
This is not an investment. This is your wealth reserve contract. This is you paying yourself first. You're just changing two things. Number one, pay yourself first into your wealth reserve contract. And number two, deploy your liquidity from the contract through policy loans into your investments. So now my money is growing. It's an average of about 6% compounding interest growth, tax-free, uninterrupted, while I'm using it in my investment in real estate. At the same time, it doesn't stop growing in my contract. The life insurance contract protects my money from litigation. It's tax-free growth. And then on top of everything, the death benefit is always bigger. It's greater than the cash value. Always. So guess what's used as collateral? The death benefit.
Right.
You know what that means? I don't have a due date. The insurance contract does not tell me when or how to pay back the policy loan. So again, you could leverage these other tools that we looked at. Crypto, we could leverage life, home equity lines of credit, real estate, asset liquidity as a wealth reserve account. But as soon as we take it out, it stops growing. We lose that growth potential. Number one. Number two, it's taxable income. The growth is taxable, right? And number three, the bank is going to tell me when I have to pay it. I don't get to pick a due date. I don't have control. When I borrow, if I had $100,000 in a policy and I borrowed 50,000 to deploy into a real estate asset, I'm going to use that as a down payment on an asset. Or if I have 500,000 in my policy and I'm going to take 200,000 and just buy a property, right? I don't have a due date to pay back the 200 that I just borrowed.
Oh, I get it. So you're saying like, okay, like, yeah, because with anybody else that you get a loan and you're doing business with, they're going to state the terms on when you need to make payments, right? But then what you're saying is if you're borrowing from yourself through this policy, basically you could say that when my death benefit is paid out, that's when you pay this loan off, not now, today.
So here's the thing. That's a fallback. So I don't teach that. Like, yes, that's true. That is true. But that wouldn't be wise.
Right.
Not now, because I want to replenish my account.
Correct.
If I treat it like a line of credit, if I'm a good steward.
Right.
Right. I'm going to treat it with tender, loving care, replenish it as quickly as I can so I could leverage that again and again and again.
Yeah.
Right? Now, maybe when I'm 80, 85 years old and I slow down, I'm not really, doing moving and hustling like, I'm just, okay, you know what? I have $5 million in a death benefit. I got $3 million in my cash value. Let me go ahead and borrow $1 million and I'm not going to pay that back. That's okay at that point. That might make sense for a retirement supplement plan, right? Yep. Because now my system is at a point where I'm at the end of my life, and but now in my younger years, and when I'm 47, so I'm still young. But listen, young people, the younger you start, as soon as you can, And every time you have a child, the Rockefeller method is buy an insurance policy on that life and put it and designate the death benefit to the trust. Oh, so by the way, that's where the trust lies in. So that's the third pillar. All right. So who's going to own the contract? The trust owns the contract. Who's the beneficiary of the contract? The trust is the beneficiary of the contract.
Yep.
I had a feeling.
So now I just created another level of barrier of protection with depending on the type of trust I have. So the wealth reserve contract is the core. It's the engine that allows us to create flow and velocity to recapture that money for it to grow uninterrupted and then be able to deploy it and recapture it. And here's the crazy thing. Imagine this scenario. And then I'll go ahead and elaborate on the trust. I borrow $100,000 against my whole life insurance contract. I invested in a real estate asset. That real estate asset is going to either one or two things are going to happen. Either it's going to do well and it's going to be a good investment, or it's not.
Right.
If it's a flop, if that money came out of my checking account, savings account, or a loan from a bank, right?
You're done.
I'm done. However, if it was from my whole life contract, guess what? It's protected by the death benefit. I don't have to pay it back, right? But I want to pay it back. Right. So I lost it. Okay, over the next couple years, let's just say it takes me a year or 2 or 5, and I pay it back. I pay back the $100,000 to my wealth reserve contract. Now that $100,000 over the next 30 years is going to gain compounding interest. So over the span of the next 20 to 30 years, I'm going to recapture the $100,000 that I lost.
Right.
The same goes for my debt right now. If I have car loans, credit cards at 7, 18, 19, 20, 27% interest, I could pay my money directly to those debtors. But it only went in one direction. I only used it one time.
Right.
If I put my money in my wealth reserve account, borrow against it, pay off the car loan at 7 or 8%, pay off the credit cards at 27%, then I could redirect that monthly payment back to paying back my loan that from myself that I made. So all I did is I changed who owns the debt. Mm-hmm. I changed the ownership of the debt from the banks and the creditors to my wealth reserve contract.
Oh, you talking heavy, bro. I get exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. I like that.
Now I can pay myself back. Guess what I just did? I recaptured that debt. So now I have the car, and the money that I used to pay for the car is going to grow back over time.
Yeah. Now we playing Monopoly.
And you paying a better rate.
That's velocity. That's velocity. And that's why this system has to be taught. I'm not selling life insurance. We have to use it because it's the tool that we need. And you can work with any insurance agent that knows this system, that understands this system. Unfortunately, so let me talk about this real quick, and then I'll go to the trust. Unfortunately, in the life insurance space, 99% of folks out there are not teaching to do good to help others. They're doing it just as a way to make income. You have to understand, I got into life insurance because I've been in the business financing arena for 20 years, helping people with loans. I'm the debt dealer. I'm the guy that gets you access to SBA loans, equipment financing, cash advances, business credit cards. I have a course, Business Credit 101. You know, Mac, right? Yeah. That's what I've been doing forever. What I learned about this, I started asking my clients how they were doing, and it was like 50-50. Oh, we filed bankruptcy. And because of who I am, it irked me. It's not my fault that you filed bankruptcy. I was just the guy that got you the loan to start the business. Yeah. But it still made, I never felt good. So I said, what if I could teach my clients a better way, give them a vision of a system that they can transfer, eventually move over from lending or borrowing only from the banks and replace the bank and become your own bank. So I didn't create this system. I didn't create this infinite velocity, infinite banking concept. I learned it. and I saw the logic in it, I started practicing it myself. And now I'm teaching it as a part of the legacy generation system. Now, in the industry, you're going to find a lot of life insurance agents are just the blind leading the blind. So there are two big pitches. One is going to come from those people who have the philosophy that life insurance is only supposed to be used for life insurance, no other reason. So don't do anything else except buy a term policy. Guess what? That's what my grandma did. She outlived her term policy. So guess how much death benefit got left behind? Zero. Nothing.
That's crazy.
Because the maximum term on a term policy is 30 years. So their idea is, buy term insurance and then take the rest of your money and invest it in the market. So what they do is they go get a Series 7 license, become financial advisors, and then they want to manage your money in the stock market. And they want you to bank on investments for your retirement and for your legacy. Listen, if you do that and it works out great, but the market goes up and down and you don't know when there's going to be a catastrophe, when we get hit by some bomb or a pandemic. And that's exactly what happened when COVID hit. Everybody's 401ks crashed.
Yeah.
So at the most desperate time when you needed that money that was in that investment, the value of that investment plummeted, and then you had to go liquidate it, and then you had to pay taxes on that money. Right?
Yep.
So I'm not saying don't invest. This is an and asset.
Right.
This is your wealth reserve, and from here, deploy it to investment. So for those that are selling buy term, invest the rest, just know they're going to get paid on managing your money in the market. And if you outlive your term policy, you lose the death benefit, and you're going to leave nothing behind. And you're banking on the risk and the volatility of the stock market. And I'm not saying not to invest money in the stock market, but if you do it wisely, what I'm suggesting is start first with your own bank, your wealth reserve, and deploy it from there to the stock market. At least if you lose, you can recapture it.
Right.
That's it. So that's one. The other one, they're selling IULs. IUL was created to counter buy term, invest the rest. So IUL is an indexed universal life insurance policy.
Yeah.
And so what they're doing is they're indirectly investing your life insurance premiums into the stock market. So what their pitch is, when you buy this policy, there's a protection on the bottom so you won't lose any money. And there's a cap at the top. So you're not gonna have unlimited gains. If the market goes up 30 points, you'll be capped. They used to say 12, 15%, but it got regulated twice. The government had to regulate this, re-regulate it, and they were laws passed that say you can't do that. You can't, because it's misleading. It doesn't. So now they're illustrating them like around 7 or 8%. But really what happens over time, the average performance is about 4%, which is less than the whole life contract. That's pretty much the guarantees of the whole life contract, right around 3%, plus the dividends that you get on the whole life contract. So they're pitching it as an alternative investment strategy where you're getting insurance and investing at the same time, and you're protected. But the truth is, if we have a down year on the market, am I paying insurance premiums? Are there fees built into those insurance premiums for me to play in the market? So if I have a $0 year in the market, I did lose. I lost that year because I had to pay to play and I had a 0 year.
Right.
So when they illustrate these policies, they illustrate them as if they're going to perform every year for the next 30, 40, 50 years. And they look amazing. They get you so excited off of the illustration. But they control that as the insurance agent. They design it and they're showing you the best case scenario, which does not happen. That's not what's going to happen. It's just not reality.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they're suggesting that you use it as a leverage tool, as your wealth reserve account, to deploy to investments, which these policies cannot handle them, and they end up lapsing. I'm not making this stuff up. I talk to people and I've seen their policies. They're on the phone crying because they put $20,000-$50,000 into a policy, and because they borrowed against it, 5-10 years later, it's lapsing because it wasn't designed for that.
Right.
It's not designed for that. If you want to use an IUL to give you a low premium and have a good death benefit for a permanent insurance policy, okay, that might be the only time I may use an IUL. Strictly for the death benefit, not for the cash value, not for banking. And it's going to be designed in a way where it's ultra conservative, where really we're just setting up a permanent policy for death benefit. But that's not how these agents are selling it. The IUL is only 27 years old. That's how old it is. That product is only 27 years old. These agents are taking the book. Let me show you the book. There's 2 books that they use. This is one of them. Become Your Own Banker by R. Nelson Nash. He's the godfather of this strategy. He didn't invent it. Like Isaac Newton didn't invent gravity. He just identified it, documented it, and so he gets credit for it. But he ain't invented it. Neither did he. This system and strategy existed before him. But he put it in a book, and he gets credit as the godfather of infinite banking. Right? So get this book, Become Your Own Banker by R. Nelson Nash. Okay? So they're giving this book to people. Hey, read this book. Then they're giving this book to people.
Big bills.
Yeah, hold on real quick. Keep that up. All right. What would the Rockefellers do?
Okay.
Yep.
By Garrett Gunderson.
Yep.
Okay. And let me bring it back for
Becoming Your Own Baker, the 5th edition. R. Nelson Nash.
You know, people like books out there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We read over here.
Get those 2 books, right? And if you really want to figure it out, get this one.
IUL Exposed. Chris Kirkpatrick.
So Chris is one of my mentors. Garrett is one of my mentors. I spoke at Chris's event last year. I'm actually working closely with some of the biggest minds and leaders in this space that are teaching this stuff to people. These agents are using these books and giving them to people so that they learn the information, and then they're selling them an IUL. Nowhere in any of those books does it talk about IUL. It's always whole life. And they're saying, do what the Rockefellers did. The Rockefellers lived almost 200 years ago. So how did they use an IUL, which has only been on the market for 27 years?
Right.
Ooh, yeah.
Right.
I'm not making this up.
Nah.
And I'm not against IUL, guys.
That was a bar. You dropped the bar right there.
Nah, you did.
I'm not against IULs in certain circumstances for the death benefit. But what I'm against is either people taking advantage of people because they're trying to make more commission, and they're just baiting and switching them, right? And then they're nowhere to be found when you need help to get to fix your problem. You won't ever hear from them again, right? They sold you their product, they got their commission, goodbye.
On to the next.
Yeah. They're not teaching you systems. They're not helping you to set up any of what I'm showing here as far as trust, tax strategies, leveraging personal business credit, setting up your pension and guaranteed income in retirement, and your family constitution. These things are not in there. They're just going to sell you the policy. See ya. Bye. So I don't want to beat up on that, but I have to talk about it because unfortunately there's a lot of people out there that are teaching that. They're on TikTok, they're on YouTube, whatever. And they're hurting people. There's one guy who has over 30,000 class action lawsuits.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah,
30,000 is crazy.
and I know the attorney, Chris Kirkpatrick, knows the attorney that sued him and won about 30 times by himself. But this guy is so wealthy off of selling this insurance, okay, that he just has a budget to pay for his attorney fees to cover the. He don't care, man. He's just out there running game, and people are just buying it up. They're just because it sounds so good, and he comes across as genuine, but they're not really doing their homework. That's why I'm showing you the books. Do the homework. Verify me. Check me out. Don't just listen to what I say and because it sounds good, do it. Like, do your diligence. Take your time to do the research.
Hey, so I know you, as you said all that, the last part of the presentation would be the trust.
Yeah. So that's now. So we got time.
Yeah, we about 15, 20 minutes. You can get that part in.
Yeah. So it's important to know. There's the why do we want to trust, right? First of all, most people don't even have a will and a testament, right? Now, whether you have a will and if you don't have a will and a testament, any of your assets, everything belongs to the government. Your social security number is your tax ID number to the government. We know this, right? And so everything that you own, you don't own nothing. The government is going to take your assets. If you have a will and a trust, if you have a will and a testament, then that will has to go to probate court. Probate court can be up to 2 years, and it can cost up to 10% of your net worth.
Yeah.
Do the math.
A testament, right? A will and a testament, right?
Correct.
You know, because I know most people when they hear dealing with trust and how we're talking about this, but when the word testament, right, is a Roman term dealing with death. You know what I'm saying? Funny enough. So when someone puts their will, when they say, you know, as it is on earth, as it is in heaven, and the testament part is the part of understanding how your benefits are passed on to your heirs and certain things through the testament. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
But at the same time, tied to a trust is what really need to be a person's own manifest destiny of testament for themselves. But I still would stay away from using the word testament because it's a Roman term. But you know what I mean? We living right now. We want to do this as you just showed this whole process while we're living and be able to borrow and do these things while we're living. You see what I'm saying? But go ahead though. My bad.
Sure. So a will is a step up from having nothing, but it's still subject to probate. And who knows how long you could be in probate and how much it's going to cost, especially if you have children and there's disputes about who's going to be caring for the child. Your kids could end up as custodians of the state in the meantime. So that's not enough. We need to have a trust because a trust goes whatever's in that trust is that's it. It's bonded. There's no probate. Why? Because a trust is an entity. So you have 3 levels, really. There's your personal entity, then you have a business entity, an LLC, S Corp, whatever, C Corp. That's another level of entity that we need to establish, and that goes into the tax strategies, which is the 4th pillar. And then the trust is another entity, but the jurisdiction of the trust is above the jurisdiction of the business entity. So you can put your business in the trust. Now, generally speaking, there's 2 types of trusts. There's an irrevocable trust, and there's a revocable living trust. A revocable living trust is not ironclad. It's revocable. A judge can, if there's a litigation, a judge could force you to make changes to the trust and award the plaintiff from your trust. They can force you because why? Because it's revocable trust. So why do people do revocable trust? Because it's easy to change and add to while you're alive, right? Now, who does a revocable trust? If you don't have assets more than maybe just your house, you don't need more than that, to be honest with you. But if you're a mover and a shaker and you're going to have assets, multiple vehicles, multiple luxury items, minks, gold, diamonds, properties, boats, yachts, planes. These assets need to be in a trust. And the more assets that you have is the more subject you are to somebody trying to sue you. So there's certain trusts that are irrevocable trusts. Not all irrevocable trusts are the same. There's many, many, many different types of trusts. There's disability irrevocable living trust for if you have a disabled child. You have life insurance trusts. You have business trusts. There's a whole bunch. The biggest one that I've seen is a 5-in-1 trust called the Dynasty Trust. This is what the Rockefellers did. And inside that trust, it not only has asset protection where they can't touch your assets. So especially if you have it set up with multiple businesses that are in that trust and those businesses own those assets and the trust owns those businesses, then because of those levels of jurisdiction, it's going to be very difficult for anybody to sue you for multiple assets. Right? So number one, there's levels of asset protection in a irrevocable living trust when it's set up properly, depending on which trust you implement. There's also tax advantages that you can have in place through pass-through entities through the trust. So I am not an attorney. I'm not a tax consultant. I'm not a financial advisor. So I work with attorneys. I have an attorney group that I refer my clients to, and they do all of this. But what they do is they do a consultation to understand who you are, where you are in your journey, what are you trying to achieve, and then they recommend the appropriate trust. That's my favorite word, by the way, appropriate. They recommend the appropriate trust. And the same thing when I'm designing a wealth reserve contract for a client, I'm not just doing what they want or what I want to see them do. I'm trying to help them figure out what's an appropriate place to start based on your circumstances, based on your income and your cash flow, right? Same thing with the trust. We don't just go buy a $15,000 dynasty trust because it sounds good and everybody's doing it. Is it appropriate for your circumstances? So those are the two main different trusts. Is the revocable living trust. That's what most people do. If you're a W-2 income earner, you don't really have assets more than maybe your home and a car. That typically suffices. Your will goes in there, your power of attorney. There's a whole list of items that go into the trust that basically will avoid probate. And then when you do pass away, the attorney will then turn that into a irrevocable trust. And then your word inside of the trust is immediately enforced so that your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And that could be rules, laws. This goes into the family constitution now, the seventh pillar, which are the rules, the laws, the roles of different family members, the third party individuals that you have to have in place, your trusted advisors, your attorney, your tax professional, financial coaches, financial advisors, that are designated for the family, how the wealth is distributed based on milestones, based on objectives, based on rules of borrowing from the trust, how to replenish the family trust so that it continues to grow in perpetuity by basically funding a life insurance policy on every newborn child, and everybody in the family has a death benefit that is dedicated to the trust so that no matter what happens, that trust continues to grow generation after generation after generation, and it doesn't just stay the same. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Because one thing I can tell you, I don't care how much money you make, you can never out earn the amount of death benefit that you can purchase. But see, when I'm talking to a young person and I say that, well, I don't have any kids, I don't care about that right now.
Yeah.
No. You gonna say Monte?
Nah, I would say he dropped the ball. Like, yes, I'm with you.
Shoot.
But if we get ourselves from when we're young to start thinking about generational and having a vision of generational wealth, then that ignorant, self-centered, short-minded argument of I don't have any children, that doesn't matter to me right now, is thrown out the window. It's that it's hard for me sometimes, to to talk to people who are so stubborn in their perspective because of how brainwashed we are.
Program, yeah.
Programmed, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm trying so hard to find the right language. This is why I came up with the word wealth reserve account, wealth reserve contract, because I'm trying to help you to understand the principles and that these are just tools. Now, if we can get into the system and we can start using the tools and we start creating flow, and we can start creating velocity, we can start leveraging in a short amount of time, you can be in a position where you'll never have to borrow from any bank ever again. And you can become the borrower.
Correct.
You can become the borrower.
Like this hard money lenders, we were just talking about that. Once you said that, I'm fully with what you're saying. That makes perfect sense to me.
I have one of the top producers in the industry that is teaching what I'm teaching. He has a club, a hard money club, where he puts borrowers and lenders together, that and everybody's doing the same thing. They're setting up wealth reserve contracts as borrowers, and then they're setting up wealth reserve contracts as lenders, and they're investing in real estate assets, borrowing, lending money, borrowing money, but everything going back to the wealth reserve contract.
So for the check this, Mac. So for the autonomous perspective, right? For the Maroons out there, the people who say they want a nation build, I hope you understand what he's laying out, because this is a realistic way that you can do it without having to have millions of dollars already in your pocket. If you're willing to sacrifice and you got the mindset that he's saying, you care about your people the way you say you do on the internet.
Shout out to the party, you heard me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it like that. Because at the end of the day, just we understand the collective understanding what he's saying as far as moving collectively within trust, and you knowing how to do certain things that could benefit, and understanding every individual can do this, as he showed y'all, right? But as they say, nation building, having your own bank, even that's gonna be another conversation probably next time I get him to come back or something like that. But I mean,
hey, one more question.
Presentation for this. Go ahead.
Do churches have this contract?
Most churches don't. Most churches don't, but there's an advantage that churches have as a nonprofit.
Yeah.
One of the rules when you're designing these policies is it's called the MEC rule. MEC is a acronym which is Modified Endowment Contract. So the government, this took place in the 80s. They saw that wealthy people were just dumping loads of money into these contracts, right? But not only wealthy people, like bad players as well.
Right.
They were money laundering with these contracts, right? So to put a stop to that, and just to be able to limit how much money people could use these policies as tax shelters for, they created the MEC rule, which there's a ratio of how much death benefit you have to how much cash value you put in the policy, right? There has to be more death benefit, and there's a ratio. That's all regulated. It's in the system. So when I design a policy and I'm trying to force the policy to give us the maximum cash value, right? If I push it a little too much, it'll warn me this policy is going to become a MEC on year 5, or it's a MEC on day 1, or it's a MEC on year 20, right? What happens with a MEC, it still issues a death benefit, right? But then the cash value growth and the policy loans are all taxable.
Okay.
So you can't MEC a policy. You don't want to MEC a policy, right? For nonprofits, for churches, because of their nonprofit status, you can overfund these policies and it doesn't apply. The MEC rule does not apply.
It don't apply.
No.
That's what I thought.
So we need to talk to pastors that, and we need to talk to people that are in this situation that have these nonprofits and teach them.
I know a few. Yeah,
it doesn't apply. They're not limited by the MEC rule. So that they can do a lot more, much faster, with a policy versus if you didn't have that status.
Yeah.
Love it. Great game, bro.
Oh,
amazing
man,
game.
It was a beautiful build, man. It was a beautiful build. I mean, Sebastian, man, thank you for the presentation, man. Once again, man, I know we ran over and everything, but it was well worth it for me.
Well worth it. Hey, so let's do what we supposed to do real quick. Let's make sure they know. So the link is gonna be, it's in the description now, right? For you to get to the website. So tell them about the, the offer, the sign up, everything that's within the site.
Yeah, I'm giving you the masterclass 100% free. You just go register. When you register, if you want to schedule a one-on-one clarity call with me for 15 minutes, that's free. And then on that call, what I do is I just try to get some clarity with you to help you for both of us to see if we're aligned and if what your goals are, what are you trying to achieve, and if I can be of value to, if I can serve you and assist you on your journey. And so everybody's different. You may be a business owner, or you may be looking to start a business. You may just not be a business owner. You're a W-2 income earner, and that's where you want to stay. That's okay. But you can put systems in place to still protect and grow your wealth. And ultimately, I'll take you through the process. I recommend, going through the masterclass at least once or twice, checking out the books I said, Becoming Your Own Banker by R. Nelson Nash and What Would the Rockefellers Do by Garrett Gunderson. The seventh pillar, sorry, the sixth pillar is a very important pillar as well. That's the pillar of creating a pension in retirement, how to create a pension for yourself. Because what that does is it gives you a guaranteed income to cover your living expenses when you retire, so that you don't have to be pulling from all of your investments to deplete your wealth. Because that's what most of us do. We use all the investments to retire off of, which means we are depleting the wealth that we're leaving in the legacy. So we want to protect the legacy, protect the wealth, and you can create a guaranteed income through creating a pension. And that gives you a fixed amount of income that you can live off of for the rest of your life. Most importantly, that gives you peace of mind more than anything else, where you're not stressed out in your 80s and 90s, because you don't know if you're going to be able to, feed yourself or pay rent or whatever the case may be. Yeah, everybody's at a different level, and there may be different parts of the system that, I guess have an impact on you. Maybe it's the tax strategies portion, which is advanced planning and advanced tax strategies. Maybe it's, just knowing it thyself and getting into clarity and creating alignment. Whatever it is that, speaks to you, that's what we kind of figure out in the clarity call. And then we take it from there.
Yeah, that was dope, bro. So I hope everybody out there, you got a lot of value out of this, and you go and take them up on this so you can research for yourself. You ain't got to just take the present. I know the presentation, you may be, on hype right now, but go through and break this down, because I'm telling you, like, me and Mac ain't new to a lot of the things that he was saying. If you understand the lingo, it's definitely worth you going to do the due diligence to check it out, because it can be very beneficial to you right now today to build something for your own legacy. You know what I'm saying? That was the topic of the day. Yeah, there you go.
In 2026 and beyond, you heard me? Generationally speaking, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So don't take too long to get to your own, handle your own business, in pursuit of your happiness. You know what I mean? Control your banking, your economics, your education, and everything when we get this money right like this. You hear me? That's why we said it like that, and he presented it like that, and I hope everybody got it like that. You hear me? So the harsh reality is live life autonomously. Shout out to the approved guy. And I think next week we got Travis. You hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we got a nice little lineup coming for y'all going into Black History Month and all that too. Oh, and I know last week some of y'all didn't like probably the strenuous of that Rome Israel thing, but we got to do Rome and Carthage coming up soon too. So we ain't gonna be biased. Rome get to get talked about with everybody. They hit everybody. You know what I'm talking about? They set up a system just like this, infinite banking, Vatican.
Yeah.
So that's why they the referee. Tap in with us though. Appreciate you, Sad man. Once again.
Much love. Thank you guys. Bless.
You too.
We go, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
They changed our names, but the truth still lives.
Some say we came from far away. Some say we've always been right here. Two stories at the same doorway, both chasing what our hearts hold dear.
Old maps, new maps, who's to say? We just want the truth that they
Two roads, one people.
Still searching for the name they stole.
Baby, baby, two roads, one people.
Still walking back to what we know.
Oh, we rise together. No matter which path we chose. No, 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 two roads, one people.
Still coming home.
Still coming home.
Some want unity to heal the pain. Some want records to clear the lies. But either way, we break the chains and lift the story they deny. Lineage, memory, same heartbeat, just different ways to find our feet.
One people.
Still searching for the name they stole. Oh, two roads,
one people.
Still walking back to what we know. Oh, we rise. No matter which path we chose. Oh, no, no. Two roads, one people. Still coming home. Still coming home.
We remember.
We remember.
We remember who we are.
They turned our nations into colors, but the truth kept living in our bones. Every step we take uncovers the road that leads us back home. One people still searching for the name they stole. Two roads, one people still walking back to what we know. Oh, we rise. No matter which path we chose. Oh, road, two roads, one people. Still coming home. 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 Still coming home.
Which means what? Black folks. You never find a white aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't like to be called an aborigine.